Chapter 257. A moment later, a dragon-shaped coffin lay in the secret chamber. The carvings on the coffin were lifelike, like a real dragon. Its entire body was yellow, mottled with age. An ancient aura slowly circulated around it. It was a ghastly sight to behold. Especially the dragon head, which had been half destroyed. Ouyang Long grabbed the dragon head, forcefully lifting it open. The dragon-shaped coffin slowly opened. Roar! A faintly discernible dragon roar seemed to drift along with the wind, seeming both real and illusory. Thick spirit energy and a strange power surged out. Taking a light breath made one feel refreshed. Even Ouyang Yusin was seeing the gray dragon coffin open for the first time. She could not help but exclaim, "What a mystical energy! Just taking a breath makes my body feel more alive. Also, my cultivation level seems to be restless." The gray dragon coffin was not only filled with the energy to restore the body, but also powerful spirit energy. The moment Ouyang Long opened it, he placed Su Yu into the coffin. Clang! As the coffin lid closed, Ouyang Long heaved a sigh of relief. "Inu, this is all I can do. What happens next will depend on your luck." The woman left, leaving only the gray dragon coffin in the secret chamber. After a long time, within the coffin, Su Yu slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were clear, filled with gratitude. Even though his body was heavily injured, his soul was unharmed. At the critical moment, the divine nine-dragon cauldron had shaken, cleansing his soul with the spirit liquid. His heaven's sun gazing at air technique had finally entered stage 1 lower class. His soul could now leave his body, and the strength of his soul had doubled. The effect was that Su Yu's level of comprehension had doubled. Also creak. Su Yu's eyes shot out a ball of gray light, piercing through the gray dragon coffin. Ziyun Xiang, who was in a deep sleep, let out a muffled groan. Her pretty face was slightly contorted, showing signs of pain. His soul could leave his body, injuring the enemy at close range. One could imagine how terrifying a soul attack that was twice as powerful as someone of the same level would be. Furthermore, what Su Yu cared about the most was the transformation of the divine nine-dragon cauldron. The second dragon, the red dragon, had completely crystallized. Back then, when the first dragon had completely crystallized, Su Yu had obtained an ability, Seal of Time. Now that the second dragon had completely crystallized, Su Yu had obtained another ability, Space Vortex. Creating spatial distortions could be used to teleport a person away, and the power of spatial distortions could be used to shatter objects. The destructive power of this spatial ability was unimaginable. Su Yu was looking forward to the next soul transformation, and he wondered what kind of talent the third dragon would bring him. The purple dragon represented time, and the red dragon represented space. What about the next dragon? All in all, this could be considered as a blessing in disguise. The only thing that worried Su Yu was that Zi Donglai's whereabouts were unknown. Would the spatial vortex take him away? If he failed, would he still be alive? If he succeeded, where would he be now? After checking his body, Su Yu's eyes shone with a cold light. His internal organs were destroyed, and his meridians were severed. This was the first time in his life that he had suffered such heavy injuries. It could be said that it was no different from death. Wu Ming. Han Jianglin. Su Yu's murderous intent could not be quelled. In the process of teleportation, he should have been able to leave easily. However, it was Nameless, that mysterious red-robed youth, who had suddenly attacked him and interrupted his teleportation, forcing him to break through his limits and execute the fourth version of the Buddhist saint's 8 characters. Su Yu knew that he had no enmity with Nameless, but this person was overbearing and wanted to kill him. If he didn't die, this blood debt of life and death would never be erased. After a long time, Su Yu calmed his emotions, his soul regaining its calm. His body was still in a dangerous situation, and he needed to prioritize recovery. Within the gray dragon coffin, the mystical energy and majestic spirit energy made Su Yu feel slightly at ease. He closed his eyes and waited for his body to recover. At the same time, with the increase in his level of perception brought about by the explosion of his soul, Suyu entered a state where time was accelerated by 200 times. Buddhist saints' 8 characters, 9 fingers of imaginary thunder, and the divine decree all entered a state of comprehension. In the next 3 days, the Lin family, Feng family, Xing family, all the big and small forces in the city were secretly searching for Suyu, Zi Yunxiang, and the missing Zi Donglai. Everything was hidden under a peaceful facade. In an inn outside the Alliance City, a handsome middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing stood in front of the window with his hands clasped behind his back, overlooking the crowd. Behind him stood a lithe woman respectfully. Her face was covered by a veil, her beautiful eyes like a pair of crescent moons. She seemed to be smiling yet not smiling. Her pretty eyes moved slightly, sweeping across the crowd. There were a few ordinary passers-by, and she said meaningfully, "Palace Master, it seems like we missed a good show. There are so many spies hidden in the crowd. I wonder who they are looking for." The middle-aged man was the North Continent's Empire of Darkness sub-palace master, Ling Xiaotian. The veiled woman was Hua Zhilan. Ling Xiaotian laughed softly and shook his head. "Perhaps. It has nothing to do with us. However, I would like to see if there are any geniuses of the younger generation that can catch my eye in the Alliance ranking competition 3 days from now." 5 years ago, only Hua Zhilan had caught Ling Xiaotian's eye. He did not know what the situation would be like in this year's competition. Hearing this, Hua Zhilan's hatred rose again, her crescent moon-like eyes turning cold. "If I have the chance, I will definitely take Lu Jun's head." Back then, she had entered the Shintian manor as a magical ability. She did not expect to be plotted against by Lu Jun, nearly becoming his exclusive property and having her chastity taken by him. Luckily, Ling Xiaotian intervened and took her in as a sub-palace member. Closing the window, Ling Xiaotian shook his head and laughed. "This kind of person can live happily for a while, but not forever. If you do not kill him, someone else will naturally kill him. There is no need to take it to heart. Furthermore, you have another important task to do," Ling Xiaotian said. Hua Zhilan was stern. "Palace Master, please instruct me." Whoosh! Ling Xiaotian took out a piece of crystal. On it was carved a few lines of elegant words. "Find Suyu, Lord Yu." After reading it, Hua Zhilan pouted, muttering unhappily, "It's Suyu again. Who is he to Lord Yu? Why must I find him? Before this, I had already gone to Xinyue Island once and found the sanctuary where his faction used to be. However, I received news that a person called Suyu had gone to a faction called the Cabinet of Phoenixes to participate in a competition. Then, both factions disappeared, their whereabouts unknown. With no clues left, how could they find Suyu in this sea of people?" Ling Xiaotian's expression turned serious, lightly scolding. "Insolence! How can you question Lord Yu's orders? Execute it immediately!" Sticking out her tongue, Hua Zhilan respectfully replied, "Yes." Secretly, Hua Zhilan clenched her teeth, clenching her fists. "Bastard Suyu, if I find you, I'll teach you a lesson first." In order to find Suyu, she had worked tirelessly and was even criticized. As if he could see through Hua Zhilan's thoughts, Ling Xiaotian sighed. "No matter what, this is an order from the Empire of Darkness. As a sub-palace, I have to complete it to the letter. Make a trip to Xinyue Island. After you return, I'll arrange for you to train in Anue City." Anue City? Hua Zhilan's sharp, snow-white ears twitched, her crescent eyes filled with surprise. Anue City was the #1 city of the North Continent. The Anue mountain range was a gathering of strong fighters from all over the North Continent. The Anue mountain range was similar to the Wulong snowfield, which traversed the North Continent. The difference was that the Wulong snowfield had been covered in ice and snow for tens of thousands of years, barren and desolate. The The Anue mountain range was a primeval forest that had remained the same for hundreds of millions of years. The treasures it contained were the most abundant among the 4 continents. Many strong fighters from the other 3 continents headed to the Anue mountain range in search of opportunities. It could be said that if they could successfully return from the training in the Anue mountain range, they would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. This city was controlled by the North Continent's Snow Listening Tower, the Phoenix Cabinet, the 100 Territories Alliance, and the North Continent's Sub-Palace of the Empire of Darkness. Being assigned to train in Anue City was the dream of every Sub-Palace member. Unfortunately, there were only a few spots each time. The Sub-Palace Master ranked above Huajilan was more qualified than her. She had never thought that she would have the chance to enter Anue City. To think that such an opportunity would fall upon her. Looking at the smiling Huajilan, Ling Xiaotian did not know whether to laugh or cry. He shook his head. Go quickly, there's no time to lose. Whoosh, Huajilan disappeared from the house. 3 days later, at the city master's manor, Han Jianglin listened to the reports from the Lin, Feng, and Xing families. His expression was dark. Zi Donglai was nowhere to be found. Su Yu and Zi Yunxiang were nowhere to be found. With the alliance meets ranking competition approaching, Han Jianglin could only endure for now. Pass down my orders, let Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan participate in the competition. At the same time, announced to the public that Sir Fengyu, Feng Linyue, Zhao Wuming, and Tan Duanfei are training outside and will not be able to return in time. As for Yin, announced to the public that he knows he is no match and has forfeited the ranking competition. He had no choice but to allow Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan to participate in the competition. The top geniuses of the Alliance City had been slaughtered. If even the 2 of them were missing, anyone would be suspicious. As for the 4 geniuses who had perished, they could only use this as an excuse to cover it up. As for Su Yu, he admitted defeat and withdrew from the competition. As for whether or not he was worried that Su Yu would cause trouble, would he dare to come? The Alliance meets ranking competition, after a storm of blood that no one knew about, began once again in a festive mood. At the Ouyang family, in a secret chamber, the gray dragon coffin shook. Thump, a strong gust of air surged, flipping the coffin lid open. A perfectly intact body lay quietly in the middle of it. Other than the blood stains, there were no other injuries. That pair of tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. Buzz, the air vibrated. That pair of eyes that were as deep as the starry sky released a mysterious glow. A completely new aura surrounded Su Yu's body. Buddhist Saint's 8 characters had not let him down after so much hard work. He had finally cultivated it to the entry level. The power of the word Lin was unprecedentedly strong. 9 fingers of imaginary thunder had taken a huge step forward from lower class. It was only a step away from upper class. With more hard work, he would definitely achieve a breakthrough. The divine decree that Su Yu cared about the most had finally achieved a breakthrough. With the mutation of his soul and his long accumulation, his divine decree had finally progressed from half-god grade to divine grade. Su Yu was looking forward to its power. Other than the technique, the spirit energy within the gray dragon coffin had also caused Su Yu's cultivation level to soar. He had broken through from Dragon Realm Level 5 lower class to Dragon Realm Level 5 peak. Furthermore, he was only a step away from Dragon Realm Level 6. This disaster had been a blessing in disguise, and he had gained a lot from it. Outside the gray dragon coffin, the awakened Zi Yunxiang, who had been waiting by the side, had an excited expression on her haggard face. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and tears. You have finally come back to life. Her father's fate was unknown, and Su Yu had almost died. She was the only one left in the world. Chapter 258. Extending his hand, he wiped away Zi Yunxiang's tears. His expression was cold. I, Su Yu, will definitely avenge Housemaster Zi. He would take Han Jianglin's life with his own hands. Zi Yunxiang wept silently, allowing Su Yu to wipe away her tears. Her heart was moved, her eyes blurred. Su Yu was silent for a moment, glancing at the Tai Chi fish on his neck. There was a clear crack. "What is this yin-yang fish?" Su Yu asked. In a moment of crisis, it was the space energy hidden within this item that had transported them away. Zi Yunxiang looked up, her lips pursed. She took out a pendant from her collar. It was also a Tai Chi fish. Su Yu's Tai Chi fish was black, Zi Yunxiang's white. When the two were put together, they formed a Tai Chi symbol. "This is my Zi clan's heirloom. It's an incomplete divine weapon. It contains the power of space, and can transport a certain distance in time. Originally, it was given to me as a dowry." As Zi Yunxiang spoke, her pretty face turned slightly red. That day, when Housemaster Zi had gifted the black Tai Chi fish to Su Yu, Zi Yunxiang had a strange expression, but Su Yu had not noticed. This item was meant for the future son-in-law of the Zi family. Su Yu had accepted it unknowingly. At that moment, Su Yu felt a weight in his hands. This was the first time they had met, and he had given his all just because of Lin Yunhe's recommendation? Su Yu had no way of repaying the favor. So, the housemaster had already predicted and made arrangements. Su Yu sighed. Zi Donglai had probably already had a bad premonition and had made preparations to give Su Yu the two treasures used for escaping. But if Zi Donglai had left them for Su Yu, he would not have to die. But he had left the hope of survival to Su Yu. Su Yu did not know how to repay this favor. "This set of jade pendants has another use," Zi Yunxiang added. "As long as we are within a suitable range, we can teleport to each other." Zi Yunxiang added, "As long as we are within a range of 100 kilometers, I can teleport to your location at any time, and you can also teleport to my location. However, it can only be used twice before the power of space within dissipates." In other words, Su Yu could easily return from 100 miles away. As expected of a broken divine artifact. Nodding, Su Yu surveyed the surroundings. "Where is the Ouyang family master? I think I need to thank him personally. If not for his selfless repayment, Su Yu would have long become a cold corpse." They have already headed to the venue of the Alliance tournament. With Han Jianglin around, how could Ouyang Long dare to give himself away? Alliance tournament? Has it already begun? Su Yu's pupils contracted. Shuar Su Yu stood up abruptly. "What are you doing?" Zi Yunxiang exclaimed. Su Yu's eyes shone with a cold light. "Of course, I will settle a blood debt first. Wait for me." After leaving behind these words, Su Yu left the secret chamber. Beast Fighting Arena. 100,000 spectators gathered once again. The knockout round 3 days ago had been spectacular. Not only were there 3 legendary geniuses, but there were also a few unforgettable dark horses. The squinting Huang Xiaoyan, the cold and merciless Wu Yaoyue, the mysterious Yin Yu, and the last strange one, Nameless. Under the anticipation of the audience, the entire audience entered the arena for the knockout round. There were a total of 100 people, and if there were no accidents, they would successfully enter the Shintian Manor. The Lucian faction master's face was filled with gratification. He looked lovingly at his disciple, Ji Hongxue, whom he was proud of. He, who was at Dragon Realm Level 3, combined with an immortal level technique, did not disappoint the crowd and successfully made it into the top 100. In the history of the Lucian faction, aside from an Euro, this was the second disciple of the Shintian Manor to appear. This caused the Lucian faction master, who had been depressed for a long time, to reveal a sliver of joy for the first time. Thinking of Su Yu, the Lucian faction master looked at the 100 disciples and could not help but shake his head. So what if his talent is high? The Shintian Manor is a land of fortune. It is only a matter of time before Ji Hongxue surpasses him. With his thoughts clear, the Lucian faction master felt refreshed and rekindled his hope for the future. Whoosh, on the rostrum, Han Jianglin descended, attracting the attention of the crowd. Housemaster Z is out on a mission. Today, the Alliance Master will host the ranking competition. The crowd looked around. Not only was Housemaster Z absent, but the head judge Lin Lingjian, the Feng family master, and the Xing family master were also absent. Also, there is another matter that is regrettable, Han Jianglin said. Mr. Feng Yuelin, Zhao Wuming, Tan Duanfei, and the rest have given up on the competition because they have matters to attend to. Also, Zi Yunxiang and Yin Yu have voluntarily admitted defeat due to their abilities. The crowd was in an uproar. So many geniuses had all missed the competition? Furthermore, they were the best batch of geniuses. The Lucian faction master was slightly stunned. He did not have a deep impression of the rest, but he had a deep impression of the youth called Yin Yu was one of the few dark horses outside of the Alliance City. As a force outside of the Alliance City, the Lucian faction master could not help but have a good impression of him. Just what force could nurture such an exceptional genius? All right, the competition officially begins. Han Jianglin announced as he pressed his hands down. But before he could finish, a calm voice floated over from the sky. Alliance Master Han, when did I say that I would withdraw from the competition because I admitted defeat? From the horizon, a youth in a long white robe flew over quickly. Thump, as his feet landed on the arena, his figure became clear. Silver mask, silver hair, white moon ice spiritual robe. Who else could it be but Yin Yu? The stunned scene caused the crowd to make guesses. Han Jianglin's gaze narrowed. You actually dared to come? Why would I not dare to come? Could it be that Alliance Master Han is threatening us to not participate in the competition? Su Yu replied calmly. Han Jianglin's expression turned cold. He retracted his coldness, his expression calm. Then I must have misunderstood. Quickly enter the team and prepare to enter the arena. How could he kill Su Yu on the spot under the gaze of 100,000 people? However, Su Yu's appearance was unexpected. The clans were equally shocked. Su Yu, who had not been seen for 3 days, had actually appeared here. The geniuses, led by Lin Aojue, who was preparing to fight, felt their limbs turn cold. The bloody scene of Su Yu massacring the geniuses of the Alliance City and killing 3 elders of the immortal realm 3 days ago was still fresh in their minds. The competition begins. The battles between 100 people would be carried out on 10 arenas. The arena that Su Yu was on did not have many worthy opponents, and he successfully advanced to the top 10. Ji Hongxue was eliminated. His abilities were only around the level of 70th or 80th place. Returning to the spectators' platform, Ji Hongxue's face was rosy, his eyes still filled with battle intent. That felt great. In the Lucian faction, it is impossible to experience such a hearty battle. If only Junior Su was here. With his abilities, he might even be able to fight his way into the top 50. Sensing that something was amiss, Ji Hongxue's voice stopped abruptly. In the Lucian faction, Su Yu was a taboo name. The faction had strict orders that no one was allowed to mention his name. Anyone who dared to do so would be punished. He had already become a taboo character. Everyone knew of his existence, but no one dared to speak of his existence. Even thousands of years later, Su Yu was still a taboo legend in the history of the Lucian faction. That bloody, dark history would be buried with his name in the dust of history. The Lucian faction master had a complicated expression, sighing lightly. Knowing that he had inadvertently touched a sore spot in his master's heart, he hurriedly changed the topic. Master, Yin Yu, Wu Yaoyue, and Huang Xiaoyan, these 3 dark horses, which faction nurtured them? It is very shocking. The Lucian faction master's gaze stopped on Su Yu, slowly nodding. The other 2 have a savage aura on them. They should be disciples nurtured by a faction near the Dark Moon Forest. That Yin Yu is very mysterious. He did not reveal a single bit of his aura, and I could not tell where he came from at all. He should be nurtured by a large faction outside of the Alliance City. Otherwise, it would be hard to imagine that such a shocking genius would appear in the 100 Territories. Mentioning Yin, the Lucien faction master did not hide his admiration. Ji Hongxue glanced over, his eyes filled with deep respect. He is indeed unfathomable. In the top 10 competition, nameless Lin Aojue, Wu Yaoyue, Huang Xiaoyan, Ouyang Yusin, Li Yan, and Su Yu had qualified. First match, Su Yu vs Lin Aojue. The number plate drawn by the referee caused the entire crowd to be excited. The first match is Lin Aojue. What's more interesting is that he is still their opponent. During the elimination round, Lin Aojue did not want to fight Su Yu, directly admitting defeat, causing Su Yu to lose face. Meeting him again today is really interesting. Whoosh, 2 silhouettes flew up to the arena. Su Yu looked at Han Jianglin, his lips forming a cold smile. Internally determined rankings? Withdrawing his gaze, Su Yu shot a cold glance toward Lin Aojue. He did not speak, but his gaze caused Lin Aojue to feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, his entire body turning cold. It was as if he could see his head being smashed into pieces by a finger. Deeply understanding the difference between them, Lin Aojue did not say a word, turning to leave the arena. This scene caused the audience to look at each other in dismay. Is Lin Aojue admitting defeat again? Haha, this is already the second time. That Yin must be extremely depressed, right? If I were him, I would also be embarrassed. I attacked twice, but the other party did not even bother to attack. The Lucien faction master sighed. In the end, Lin Aojue is stronger than him. Yin can only be considered unlucky to have met him. Ji Hongxue felt the same way. After all, he is the leader of the 3 great legendary geniuses. He has the right to be arrogant. The crowd was either regretful, pitying, sympathetic, or gloating. But at this moment, Su Yu coldly said, "Did I let you go down? Come back." Lin Aojue stopped in his tracks, his heart trembling violently. Feeling the overbearing tone of Su Yu's words, Lin Aojue felt humiliated. He turned his head and said, "I have already left the arena. What more do you want?" Su Yu said, "What do you mean by leaving the arena?" Lin Aojue clenched his fists, his lips trembling for a moment before he opened his mouth with difficulty. "Of course. I admit defeat." The word "admit defeat" was like humiliation, causing him to speak with difficulty. In the past, he had admitted defeat to Su Yu because he did not want to fight him. But now, he did not dare fight him. "If you want to admit defeat," Su Yu said coldly, "get on the arena and admit defeat in front of everyone, who will know what you are doing if you continue walking without saying a word." Su Yu shouted coldly. Lin Aojue was slightly angry. "Don't go overboard." Su Yu was clearly humiliating him intentionally. As an unofficial disciple of the Alliance Master, you do not even dare admit defeat in front of everyone? Do you think that your status is noble, that your dignity cannot be humiliated, or do you think that you are a sore loser? Su Yu coldly refuted. If you are a sore loser, then don't come to the arena. Hide in your Lin family, hide behind the Alliance Master, and be a frog at the bottom of a well. When had Lin Aojue ever experienced being reprimanded in front of everyone? Only Su Yu. On the Master's stage, Han Jianglin squinted his eyes, his murderous intent circulating. How was Su Yu humiliating Lin Aojue? He was clearly humiliating him. "Yin, stop before you go too far." Han Jianglin's expression turned serious, coldly saying. Chapter 259. Is my request too much? Su Yu asked coldly. As a teacher, not only do you not teach your disciple to face failure bravely, but you also cover for him? If this is how you train your disciples, then I have nothing to say. Han Jianglin's expression did not change, but he clenched his fists slightly. It was obvious that Su Yu was here to cause trouble. After a moment of silence, Han Jianglin said indifferently, "Aojue." Now that things had come to this, No matter how humiliated Lin Aojue felt, he could only return to the arena. In front of everyone, he cupped his fists and bowed. I, Lin Aojue, admit defeat. After he finished speaking, his face flushed red. He felt that all the glory he had gained in the past had been extinguished at this moment. The once strongest genius of the 100 Territories Alliance lowered his noble head in front of everyone. The audience was dead silent. In their eyes, Lin Aojue had humiliated Suyu once again and felt that it was beneath him to fight with Suyu. But the truth was that Lin Aojue did not dare to fight him. Such an intense contrast caused them to be shocked speechless, and they were unable to recover from their shock for a long time. Han Jianglin took a deep breath and winked at the judge, ordering the match to continue. Next battle, Huang Xiaoyan against Lin Aojue. Everyone came back to their senses and focused their attention on Lin Aojue again. Could it be that Lin Aojue was injured and Inu became complacent? Just watch this battle and you will know. The two of them flew onto the stage. Lin Aojue was immersed in the doubts of the crowd, and he felt as if there was a dagger at his back. If he didn't establish his might as soon as possible, his reputation would be ruined. You step back. Lin Aojue pointed at Huang Xiaoyan from afar and ordered her to step back. Huang Xiaoyan narrowed her eyes and glared at him. Who do you think I am? You want to scare me off with just a few words? Could it be that you've lost and are in a hurry to get back at me? Lin Aojue's merciless act was exposed, and a fierce glint flashed across his face. You're courting death. Proud absolute fist. The power of the heavens and earth silently descended. This punch seemed to look down on all directions, arrogantly ruling over the world. Just like his name, he was supercilious. Immortal Spirit Art Level 1 small success. Apart from Suyu, this was the first time someone had used Stage 1 lower class of an immortal level cultivation technique. Huang Xiaoyan's expression changed drastically. Bang! Even though Huang Xiaoyan used all her strength to block the attack, she was still unable to resist it. Her enormous body was blasted off the arena on the spot, defeating the enemy in one move. Lin Aojue was still the arrogant Lin Aojue who looked down on the geniuses of the 100 Territories. However, the crowd did not understand why Lin Aojue would admit defeat to Suyu. Next, Wu Yaoyue vs. Lin Aojue, the referee announced quickly. Whoosh, he had just finished speaking when a strong gust of wind assaulted him. It was Wu Yaoyue, who was holding a sword in his arms. His cold eyes were like lightning, and there were a few cold stars in them. You dare to hurt her? Do you want to get off by yourself, or do I have to invite you? Although they were both at Dragon Realm Level 6 Pinnacle, it was difficult to determine how Wu Yaoyue's abilities compared to Lin Aojue's. In the eyes of many, Wu Yaoyue was the most mysterious and powerful dark horse in this alliance tournament. Against him, Lin Aojue did not dare to be careless. Humph! You want me to scram? Aren't you afraid of breaking your teeth? Wu Yaoyue sneered. You don't even dare to fight Inu, and you still have the face to be so arrogant in front of me? I'm giving you face by asking you to scram. Since you don't want it, I won't stand on ceremony with you. Take this. Wu Yaoyue did not draw his sword. Instead, he used his palm force. See suppressing seal. An extremely powerful aura of the heavens and earth descended. Han Jianglin squinted. An immortal level technique of Stage 1 lower class? Where did he come from? Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan's origins were mysterious. Lin Aojue treated them seriously. Proud absolute fist. Both of them were Stage 1 lower class immortal level technique. The two of them clashed, releasing a powerful force. Rub, rub. The two of them were evenly matched. Their cultivation levels were the same, and their techniques were similar. As a result, their abilities were about the same. Wu Yaoyue retracted his palm, nodding. Not too bad. But that's all. The so-called leader of the three great ancient regions is only SOSO. Hearing this, Lin Aojue let out a cold laugh. You are nothing much. You might not be stronger than me. We have already proven this point. Wu Yaoyue had challenged Lin Aojue a long time ago. No one knew the outcome of the challenge. Now, it looked like it was a draw. Ha! Wu Yaoyue laughed mockingly. I was just testing how strong the so-called leader of the three great legendary geniuses is. Who told you that was a duel? Palm techniques are not what I am best at. They are just a technique that I use to aid my training. Swords are what I am best at. The audience was slightly shocked. His palm techniques alone had reached a level that ordinary people could not hope to reach. But this was only to aid his training. He did not spend too much effort. What level was the sword technique that he was best at? Lin Aojue's pupils constricted, but he refused to admit defeat. Won't you know if you draw your sword and try? But Wu Yaoyue did not draw his sword. He held the hilt with one hand and pointed the sword at Lin Aojue. You are not worthy of me drawing my sword. You were not worthy in the past, and you are still not worthy now. I will defeat you even without drawing my sword. His arrogant words caused the geniuses who admired Lin Aojue to be filled with hatred. Impudent! This person is extremely arrogant. Do you really not respect the geniuses of the Alliance City? Lin Aojue himself was furious. You are too impudent. In the eyes of the weak, the actions of the strong are naturally impudent, Wu Yaoyue said calmly. All right, I will send you down. I still have important matters to attend to. Lin Aojue humphed coldly. Let's see who goes down first. Proud absolute fist. Wu Yaoyue shook his head slightly. 3 styles of blood sword. Creak. The sword in his hand instantly turned into a beam of blood-red light. Following Wu Yaoyue's figure, it charged forward like lightning. The blood-red light contained a thick bloody aura, as if the blood of countless living creatures had been condensed. With one sword, everything trembled in fear. This sword contained an extremely ferocious aura. Han Jianglin's eyes narrowed slightly. What a thick ferocious aura! Could it be that he came from the Dark Moon Forest? Rumble! The sword was like red lightning piercing through the air. With a muffled sound, Lin Aojue's fist was smashed into pieces. His flesh was a mess, and his face was filled with shock as he flew out of the arena. One strike without drawing his sword had completely defeated Lin Aojue. Everyone knew that if not for the taboo against killing, that strike just now would have killed Lin Aojue. The leader of the 3 legends, Lin Aojue, had been defeated twice in a row, causing the audience to feel as if they were hallucinating. Wasn't Lin Aojue too weak? But when they regained their senses, they understood that it was not that Lin Aojue was too weak, but that the geniuses of this batch were too strong. It's your turn. Wu Yaoyue pointed his sword at Nameless. His cold eyes burned with a ferocious desire to fight, and his lips split into a wide smile. I thought that this would be a boring competition. I did not expect to meet Silver Feather and you consecutively. Haha, this kind of competition is more interesting. Wu Yaoyue licked his lips. Nameless stood with his arms crossed. His appearance was ordinary, and his aura was ordinary. One could not tell how strong he was. Hearing this, his lips curled into a faint smile. You are very confident. It's a pity that you do not know who your opponent is. Wu Yaoyue laughed. I do not care who you are. I only need to know that the one who will defeat you is me. Nameless stepped onto the arena and said with a faint smile, since that is the case, feel free to attack. The 2 of them ignored the referee. But with Han Jianglin's signal, the referee did not stop them. See suppressing seal. Wu Yaoyue struck out with his palm. The power of an immortal level technique of stage 1 lower class was not to be underestimated. No one dared to underestimate it. Even an immortal realm level 1 junior did not dare to let his guard down. But Nameless was relaxed, shaking his head and laughing. Insignificant tricks. Just a joke. Nameless flicked his sleeves. Creak. The power of heaven and earth in the surroundings was shattered into pieces. Su Yu's eyes were cold. No matter who you are, I will settle this debt of blood with you. Nameless power shocked everyone once again. How could he have such terrifying power so easily? Who was this person? How terrifying was his cultivation level? But on the arena, Wu Yaoyue was not surprised. He attacked with the long sword in his hand. 3 forms blood sword. A bolt of blood light, as fast as lightning, headed straight for Nameless. Nameless had a faint sneer on his lips. It's still a small trick. This time, Nameless flicked his finger. Clang! Wu Yaoyue's body shook. The long sword in his hand shook violently. His body was forcefully sent flying 30 Chinese feet away. The so-called 3 forms blood sword was broken on the spot. One had to know that this sword had forced Lin Aojue back with a single move, but such a terrifying sword had been easily broken. Wu Yaoyue was not angry. Instead, he was happy. Good. You are worthy of me drawing my sword. Clang! A long sword hum shook the air. Wu Yaoyue had drawn his sword for the first time. The snow-white cold light brought with it the coldness of death, sending chills down everyone's spines. In fact, those with a lower cultivation level would feel intense pain in their eyes if they looked at the sword for too long. A piercingly cold sword chi, which almost materialized, circled around the sword. A powerful spirituality was revealed to the crowd as the sword was unsheathed. Many people sensed that what they were facing was not an ordinary iron sword, but a living creature. Divine artifact. Han Jianglin's pupils dilated. Spirituality was something that only divine artifacts could possess. This sword was actually a god artifact sword that could unleash its full power. Nameless' smile faded, and he finally looked serious. I haven't seen blood in a long time since coming to the Alliance City. I'll use you as a sacrifice. Wu Yaoyue's eyes were bloodthirsty. 3 forms blood sword, first form, human kill. Rumble, a strange scene appeared. Wu Yaoyue's eyes instantly turned blood-red, and an inhuman aura surged out of his body. That aura was like that of a demonic beast, not of the human race. Inside his body, there was a liquid that resembled lightning and flames. Han Jianglin squinted. Demonic beast bloodline? It was rumored that in the Dark Forest, there was an extremely rare race. They were born with demonic beast bloodlines and could unleash unimaginable power. Using demonic beast bloodline to activate a divine artifact? If a divine artifact did not recognize its owner, it was almost impossible for it to be used. And Wu Yaoyue had obviously found the trick to using demonic beast bloodline to resonate with the divine artifact and use the sword. Kill. The sword slashed horizontally. Instantly, a 10-zhang-long blood-red sword energy slashed down from the sky. Sword energy coming out of the body, as expected of a divine artifact. Only immortal realm martial artists can achieve spirit energy coming out of the body, but with the help of a divine artifact, it can be achieved. The power of this sword was enough to kill a Dragon Realm level 7 lower tier. This was where Wu Yaoyue's confidence came from. But after Nameless recovered from his shock, his expression remained calm. Insignificant tricks. Creak. He flicked his 10 fingers consecutively, shattering the blood-red sword energy. Wu Yaoyue squinted. Could it be that you have a Dragon Realm level 7 upper-tier cultivation base? Then take another strike. 3 forms blood sword, second form, earth kill. Rumble. This time, the sword energy coming out of the body was a full 2 zhang long. The audience, who were far away, could feel the cold murderous intent. The eyelids of some Dragon Realm level 7 upper-tier fighters twitched, and they gasped. What kind of sword is this, and what kind of sword technique is this? But Nameless still did not move a single step. He raised his palm and grabbed the air. Still insignificant tricks. Creak. The 2 zhang long sword energy was shattered again. Wu Yaoyue became serious for the first time. Could it be that you have already broken through to Dragon Realm level 7 peak? You are only one step away from becoming a strong fighter of the immortal realm? His opponent looked to be about 20 years old, but he had such frightening potential. But it ends here. Wu Yaoyue took a deep breath and performed the last form. 3 forms: blood sword, 3rd form, heaven kill, human kill, earth kill, heaven kill. 3 swords, each stronger than the last. A 3-zhang long blood-red sword. It sliced toward Nameless from the sky. Even a Dragon Realm level 7 peak fighter would die with this sword. But what was shocking was that Nameless still maintained his original position, coldly shaking his head. I have already said that these are all insignificant tricks. Whoosh! Nameless struck with his palm, and a streak of spirit energy shot out of his palm. Spirit energy coming out of the body. Something that only an Immortal Realm fighter could do. He was actually an Immortal Realm genius. An Immortal Realm genius who was only 20 years old. Chapter 260. Creek. The spirit energy he released was 30 feet long, destroying the 300-foot sword energy on the spot. Wu Yaoyue was sent flying, as if struck by lightning, off the arena. Wu Yaoyue had been defeated. Even the last move of the 3 forms blood sword, which had the power of a Dragon Realm level 7 peak, had been defeated, because his opponent was an Immortal Realm genius who had hidden himself well. Who is it? Which faction has nurtured an Immortal Realm genius? John Doe's strength was beyond compare. Su Yu's eyes were filled with thought. Who was Nameless? Han Jianglin revealed a playful expression, sipping his tea. The outcome of this match was already within his expectations. The referee was stunned for a moment, then announced the results. Next match, Su Yu vs. Wu Yaoyue. Whoosh! Wu Yaoyue looked at Nameless, his eyes filled with dissatisfaction. With a divine artifact, he could fight someone 3 levels above him, but he had still been defeated. The reason was because his opponent had an Immortal Realm genius. Seeing that Wu Yaoyue was indifferent, the referee creased his brows and repeated, "Wu Yaoyue, enter the arena." Wu Yaoyue shifted his gaze from Nameless, but he did not look at Su Yu, who was on the arena. He turned expressionlessly and walked out of the arena. Huang Xiaoyan turned back and looked at Su Yu, then left with Wu Yaoyue. "Wu Yaoyue, if you do not enter the arena, you will be disqualified," the referee announced. Wu Yaoyue did not even turn back, walking straight out of the arena. Only when his figure disappeared did he say, "If I do not get first place, this competition has no meaning to me. Whoever wants to fight can fight. I withdraw from the competition." The audience was in an uproar. The alliance meet was a time to make a name for oneself. A genius like Wu Yaoyue had actually given up, and Huang Xiaoyan had no desire to leave. Did they not care about the Shintian manor? The arena was silent for a moment before the referee announced, "Wu Yaoyue has withdrawn from the competition. Su Yu wins." Su Yu had inexplicably won twice in a row. Lin Aojue had admitted defeat, Wu Yaoyue had withdrawn from the competition, and Su Yu had not even fought. This is really strange. How can he advance like this? There were many people who were angry. Wu Ming stood below the arena with his hands behind his back. He pursed his lips slightly and revealed a faint sneer. "You're lucky. In the battle 3 days ago, Nameless had been there personally. How could he not understand that Lin Aojue and Wu Yaoyue were not Su Yu's match? But now, in front of everyone, he was deliberately belittling Su Yu, telling the world that Su Yu was merely lucky." Su Yu looked up and snorted coldly. "Luck? Does a person who has already been selected have the right to say that others are lucky?" The faint smile on Wu Ming's lips remained. "Internally decided? Who said that? Do you really think no one will dare to punish you for slandering me in public? In this world you can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want." Su Yu could not help but laugh coldly. "Slander? May I ask why Mr. Feng Yu and Feng Yuelin did not participate in the competition? May I ask where Chief Referee Lin Lingjian and the Feng clan head have gone? Why don't I tell everyone why they didn't come? Wu Ming's expression changed drastically, and he didn't dare to talk back. You don't dare to answer? Then shut up. Su Yu snorted coldly. Wu Ming's cheek muscles twitched slightly, and he glared at Su Yu, not daring to continue the confrontation. On the main stage, Han Jianglin's expression was cold, and he revealed a shred of murderous intent. Yin Yu, if no one has taught you to be careful with your words and actions, I do not mind teaching you on behalf of your master. A wisp of hidden spirit energy gathered in his palm, ready to strike at any time to kill Su Yu from afar. Hearing this, Su Yu laughed loudly. Are you threatening me? Han Jianglin's expression became even colder. I am only teaching you the principles of being a human. Haha, I do not need a treacherous person to teach me the principles of being a human. Su Yu let out a cold laugh. Han Jianglin's expression turned even uglier. Su Yu had called him a treacherous person in front of everyone? Do you know your crime for insulting the Alliance Master? Han Jianglin was ready to strike. Su Yu let out a cold laugh. Insulting you? I am merely stating the truth. A person who organized the Alliance meet but could not bear to hand over the flesh regeneration elixir, and thus gathered the top 10 fighters to arrange the rankings of the competition, is a treacherous person? A person who once promised to restore the 100 Territories alliance with Housemaster Z, but now killed Housemaster Z while he was heavily injured, is a treacherous person? If someone like you is not a treacherous person, then there is not a single person in the world who is a despicable person. The powerful words, mixed with the shocking inside story, rolled across the horizon. The 100,000 spectators were overwhelmed with shock. They looked at each other, indescribably shocked. Could what Yin Yu had said be true? Manipulating the competition was a small matter, but killing Housemaster Z was a big matter. Could it be that Housemaster Z was already in trouble? Thinking back to Housemaster Z's sudden absence from the final match of the Alliance meet, it was thought-provoking. Wu Ming's and Han Jianglin's pupils dilated. How dare Su Yu? He dared to reveal the truth. Slap! Han Jianglin slammed the table and stood up, his face filled with anger. He then shouted righteously, "Insolence! A mere junior dares to slander the Alliance in front of everyone. Men, capture him!" With a loud shout, 10 people rushed out from every corner of the beast fighting arena. They wore black armor and had a murderous aura. Their cultivation bases were all strong fighters of Dragon Realm level 7. The spectators gasped. The personal guards of the Alliance Master. It was rumored that the Alliance Master had nurtured a team of guards that followed him all year round. There were a total of 10 guards, and every one of them was a strong fighter of Dragon Realm level 7. Normally, they were the backup candidates for the position of Deputy Alliance Master. Why? Su Yu said with a cold smile. Are you angry because you are about to be exposed? Han Jianglin's expression was filled with killing intent. Wu Ming's expression changed. Audacious maniac, you dare to disturb the competition venue again and again. The spectators gradually regained their senses. Most of them found it hard to believe that their respected Alliance Master would do such a shocking thing. Yin Yu, how dare you slander the Alliance Master in front of everyone? Yin Yu, you are too presumptuous. How can the Alliance Master be tarnished by you? He is the dignified Alliance Master. Why would he care about a few elixirs? Angry rebukes rose and fell. Su Yu's words in front of everyone had angered many people who were loyal to Han Jianglin. Being spurned by the crowd, Su Yu let out a long roar. A bunch of ignorant people. Since all of you are so certain, I will let all of you see his true colors. After saying this, Su Yu's cold gaze swept past the crowd, shooting straight toward Wu Ming. Come up. Let me see who exactly you are. Su Yu let out a cold grunt. He had always felt that Wu Ming was extremely mysterious, and there was a layer of obscure ripples on his body. Combined with his frightening cultivation level, Su Yu was certain that there was something wrong with this person. If there really was such a genius, why had there been no news of him before this? Unexpectedly, Wu Ming was unmoved, letting out a cold grunt. Are you worthy of fighting me? Su Yu let out a cold laugh. Why? Are you afraid or afraid? Didn't I say just now that I relied on luck? Why do you not dare to fight? Didn't you say that you were number one in the alliance? Didn't you say that it was a small trick? Why do you not dare to fight? Wu Ming's expression was sinister. Do you think a disgraceful person like you has the right to fight me? Surrender immediately and await your punishment. If you do not dare to fight, then so be it. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? Su Yu let out a cold grunt. A person who does not even have the courage to fight has the nerve to stand in the alliance meet. Who would believe that your ranking was not predetermined? Wu Ming clenched his teeth. He was filled with hatred and a shred of fear. To him, Su Yu's Buddhist saint's 8 characters was not weak. Under such circumstances, he did not dare to fight Su Yu head-on. Do you only know how to launch sneak attacks? Su Yu walked down the stage, quickly walking over. Since you do not dare to come up, I shall come down. Wu Ming raised his brows, his eyes filled with struggle. He did not know if he should attack. At this moment, on the stage, who allowed you to continue participating in the competition? I, the Alliance Master, hereby announce that Yu has broken the rules of the competition and is disqualified. Han Jianglin coldly announced, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Guards, capture him. If he dares to resist, kill him. Han Jianglin let out a loud roar. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 10 Dragon Realm Level 7 guards came from all directions, their murderous intents enveloping Su Yu, trapping him in the middle. Su Yu laughed. Using numbers to force me to exhaust my secret technique? Buddhist saints' 8 characters could not be used too many times. Han Jianglin and Wu Ming, who were present that day, must have realized this. With the abilities of these 10 guards, it was impossible for them to capture Su Yu alive. Their only use was to exhaust the most troublesome Buddhist saints' 8 characters. Wu Ming felt much more at ease, regaining his confidence. He stood outside the encirclement with his hands behind his back, coldly saying, "Joke? It is not that I do not dare, it is that I cannot be bothered to fight you. Your level is too low. It is difficult for me to muster the courage to fight you. Why don't I let these guards do it for me?" He was clearly afraid of Su Yu, but he was boasting shamelessly. Saying this, Wu Ming leisurely leaned against the side of the stage, a faint smile on his face. Let's begin. Let me comment. The 10 guards suddenly attacked. The first to attack was a strong martial artist of Dragon Realm Level 7 lower tier. Clang, he swiped his palm at his waist, a few darts appearing in his palm. The tips of the darts were glowing with a black color. One look and anyone could tell that they were poisonous. Whoosh, whoosh, with a flick of his wrist, 3 darts flew toward Su Yu's face, creating a series of afterimages. Su Yu did not even have time to react before he was pierced on the spot. Just SOSO. The Dragon Realm Level 7 guard shook his head, his expression filled with disdain and disdain. Creak. But at this moment, Su Yu's figure, which had been pierced by the darts, disappeared into thin air. It was an afterimage. The guard's heart skipped a beat, his expression changing. Not good. But it was too late for him to react now. Too slow. A cold snort came from behind him. The guard's body froze, his pupils dilating. He turned his head stiffly. 10 feet behind him, there was a figure with a pair of white wings, standing quietly. His speed was too frightening. He had actually arrived behind him without anyone noticing. Thump, Su Yu did not give him a chance. He struck out with his palm, sending the guard flying with serious injuries. One move to defeat Dragon Realm Level 7 lower tier. Chapter 261. At this moment, they finally understood why Lin Aojue would voluntarily admit defeat. It was because Lin Aojue was no match for Su Yu. Su Yu's abilities were too strong. Nameless calmly said, "Haha, your speed is passable. Winning with a sneak attack is just a small matter. You will not amount to much in the future." Such an evaluation was too biased. Movement techniques were also a part of one's abilities. How could it be a small matter? Furthermore, they were fighting head-on. How could it be a sneak attack? Su Yu was indifferent to the evaluation, taking a step toward Nameless. "It's your turn." Whoosh, but at this moment another guard attacked. Dragon Realm Level 7 Upper Tier. The newcomer's body was light, his expression calm, his tone low. "Movement techniques? Thief, this is the end." Whoosh, his figure blurred, disappearing into thin air. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Su Yu. But he did not attack. Instead, he swept his gaze toward a certain spot in the air. "Humph! I told you! This is the end." With a flash of his figure, he immediately left. A moment later, Su Yu turned into an afterimage, dispersing. In the void, there were only a few howls of wind, as if thunder and wind were rolling. Looking over, one could faintly see two figures intersecting. The scene was dead silent. Even the masters of the various families could not hide their shock. What fast speed! There are very few Immortal Realm level ones who can match up to them. The personal guards of the Alliance Master are indeed talented. The most shocking is still Su Yu. He is merely Dragon Realm level 5, but he has reached such an unbelievable level. The two of them chased each other in the air. The guard had a look of disdain. "You only dare to escape, but not fight? Is this what makes you so arrogant?" Creak. Su Yu stopped flying, revealing his figure. "If that is what you think, then so be it." Su Yu moved his finger. At once, the shapeless divine ice threads floated in the air. With a pull of his finger, the divine ice threads became taut. Puff, puff, puff. 5 consecutive sounds of flesh being torn apart could be heard. The crowd looked over, their scalps turning numb. 5 Dragon Realm Level 7 lower tier guards had been sliced into pieces abruptly. Upon closer inspection, one would discover that there were extremely fine divine ice threads surrounding the 5 of them. It was precisely these sharp divine ice threads that sliced them into pieces. In other words, Su Yu had not escaped just now. Instead, he had secretly set up a trap and killed 5 guards in one breath. The Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier guard was both shocked and furious. While he was chasing Su Yu, he did not notice that Su Yu had set up these traps. "You!" The guard was furious. "I'll kill you!" Wind kill. The first stage of the immortal spirit cultivation method was infinitely close to the first stage. Suddenly, with the whistling of the wind, a gust of wind condensed into a long saber that swept over. Su Yu's expression was cold. Thunder Star Finger. His Thunder Star Finger was also close to the first level of great completion. Boom! The two of them collided. The guard did not move from his original position, but Su Yu was forced back 10 steps. After all, there was an absolute gap between their cultivation levels. Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier techniques were far stronger than Dragon Realm Level 5 pinnacle technique. With a single move, it was clear who was superior. Humph! That's all there is to it. The guard's confidence was boosted, and he attacked again. Su Yu took a light breath, a gray glow shooting out from his eyes. The glow pierced through the void, entering the void at a speed that was hard to detect with the naked eye. The incoming guard let out a pathetic cry, falling to the ground as he hugged his head. His face was bleeding, as if he had suffered severe injuries. But after 2 pathetic cries, the guard fainted on the spot from the intense pain. Without a doubt, Su Yu had won again. Even a Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier had died by Su Yu's hands? Just what kind of abilities did he have? Wu Ming's expression finally turned serious, but it was still filled with disdain. You used hidden weapons to kill 5 people, and used unorthodox methods to make people faint. I have to say that your strength is not bad, but your character is hard to predict. You have a murderous heart, and you will use any means necessary to achieve your goals. If you do not turn back now, you might sink deeper and deeper into the wrong path, unable to free yourself. Suyu had killed 5 Dragon Realm Level 7 lower tier, and had defeated a Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier. But in Nameless words, he could not even withstand a single blow. Such an evaluation was too much. Suyu had defeated 2 people, killed 5, and there were 3 left. Han Jianglin squinted his eyes, shock in the depths of his pupils. In just a few days, Suyu had managed to cultivate such a powerful technique? He could easily defeat a Dragon Realm Level 7. Until now, he had not been forced to use Buddhist saints' 8 characters. This person killed people in public, Han Jianglin said. He is cruel and vicious. All of you attack him together, there is no need to hold back. The last 3 people were a Dragon Realm Level 7 peak and 2 Dragon Realm Level 7 upper tier. Nameless stood with his arms crossed, a mocking smile on his lips. Let me see how long you can last against them. I'll also give you a few more comments. Suyu's cold eyes swept past, taking big strides toward Nameless. Since you want to know my abilities so badly, why don't you try it out yourself? Nameless took a few steps back, a smile on his face. Didn't I say that you do not have the right to fight me? Whether I have the right or not depends on my fists, not my mouth. If you are a man, fight me to your heart's content and settle your grudge. Don't be like a woman, afraid to fight, spouting nonsense at the side, making laughable comments to show off your existence. If this is your so-called self-confidence and invincibility, you are a joke. Nameless' expression turned serious, his expression cold. Who do you think you are to be worthy of me fighting? Then I must try. Before Suyu's words had even landed, 3 sounds of air breaking could be heard. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 guards charged forward at the same time, blocking between Nameless and Suyu. Nameless let out a cold laugh. You should play with them first. I will not accompany you. After saying this, Nameless tapped the ground with his toes, flying toward the rostrum. But at this moment, space control. Suyu grunted in his heart. A powerful spatial force suddenly swept over, sucking the 3 guards into it and teleporting them 10 miles away. Nameless turned his head in surprise, realizing that the 3 of them had disappeared. His cold smile froze. Now, there is no one to disturb us. Suyu let out a light sigh, lifting his gaze and shooting it toward Nameless. Can we start the fight now? Nameless' pupils dilated. Without thinking, he flew toward the rostrum, turning his head and shouting, "Yin-yu! If you want to fight, go to the arena and wait for the fight. According to the rules, this is below the arena. Go back immediately." Suyu could not help but laugh. When you wanted to kill me, you did not care whether this was an arena or not. Why are you paying attention to the rules now that it is your turn? You finally admit that you do not dare to fight? Suyu let out a cold laugh, chasing after Nameless. Nameless felt his scalp go numb, using his fastest speed to escape in a hurry. This person had forced Suyu out of his space teleportation, forcing Suyu to the brink of death. Moreover, he had forced Suyu to surpass his limits, using Buddhist saints' 8 characters, causing him to narrowly escape with his life. How could this blood debt be settled so easily? Haha, didn't you want to have a taste of the power of that secret technique? Now I'll give you a chance. Suyu let out a cold laugh. Hearing this, Nameless' heart thumped wildly. Stop. This is a competition, what are you trying to do? Nameless roared. Suyu let out a cold laugh. Have you forgotten something? Just a moment ago, your Alliance Master Han had already stripped me of my qualifications. Now I am merely a ruthless wanted criminal. Since you are ruthless, then you should do ruthless things. Nameless' expression changed, his movement technique quickly charging toward the rostrum. His speed was even faster than Suyu's. Even the Immortal Realm Level 1 peak Lin Lingjian's movement technique could not compare to Suyu's. This Nameless was even faster than Su Yu. His cultivation level had probably reached Immortal Realm Level 2. How could a young genius reach Immortal Realm Level 2 and still remain unknown? There was definitely a huge problem with his identity. Buddhist Saints 8 characters. Su Yu let out a low grunt, opening his mouth and taking a deep breath. At once, thunder rumbled, spirit energy gathering from all directions. Compared to the last time he used it, the phenomenon was even more shocking. Nameless' scalp turned numb. Even though he did not turn his head, he could feel a terrifying destructive energy brewing behind him. Once it exploded, that power. Alliance Master, save me! Nameless was panicking, letting out a low grunt, calling for help from Han Jianglin, who was on the rostrum. At this point, he no longer had the leisure to criticize Su Yu. He no longer said that he could not be bothered to fight Su Yu. He no longer had the excuse to drag things out. There was only one reason why he did not fight Su Yu. He did not dare to fight Su Yu. Feeling the destructive energy Su Yu was brewing, Han Jianglin's eyes were filled with killing intent. This person's potential was too frightening. 3 days ago, the same technique was not even half as powerful as what he was using now. If it was 3 days ago, he might not have been able to cause any serious damage to Nameless. But now... Stop it! Han Jianglin let out a cold hum. He then flew over and attacked Su Yu. The audience was shocked. The 100 Territories Alliance Master had personally attacked to kill a junior. But Su Yu had no intention of stopping, his eyes filled with mockery. Was there any room for him to stop at this point? When the other party wanted to kill Su Yu, had he ever thought of stopping? Now that Nameless was in danger, he hoped that Su Yu would stop. Shaking his head, Su Yu slowly opened his mouth. Lin. At once, a sound of heaven and earth, as if it had appeared when heaven and earth were being split apart, surged forth. That sound seemed like it could destroy heaven and earth, shattering a hole in the chaotic heaven and earth. Rumble, a pitiful cry reverberated throughout the beast-fighting arena. Nameless' entire body shook, his back a bloody mess. As his body shook, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Within the blood there was a red elixir. This elixir had been in his mouth all this time. An even more shocking scene appeared. After the elixir left his mouth, the muscles on his face began to squirm, changing continuously. In the end, Nameless turned into another person. Chapter 262. Anyone with some power in the Alliance city would recognize his face. That was none other than the Alliance Deputy Alliance Master, Lu Jun. The crowd was at first confused, then furious. Now that things had come to this, how could they not understand that everything Su Yu had said was true? Han Jianglin had no intention of handing over the flesh regeneration elixir as a reward. Instead, he had arranged for someone he trusted to win the elixir back. Normal geniuses could not be guaranteed. The numerous powerful dark horses this time around explained everything. Only a genius that could never be defeated could ensure the return of the elixir. But if such a genius existed, he would have long been famous in the 100 Territories Alliance. Thus he could only fake one. Some of the smarter ones stared at the red elixir, their faces filled with disdain. It was rumored that the flesh regeneration elixir Han Jianglin had obtained came from a relic. From that relic, he had obtained some other nature-defying elixirs. However, no one knew what it was exactly. Only Han Jianglin possessed an elixir that could change a person's appearance. Thus, he had created a king of dark horses, Nameless. An immortal realm genius who was not even 20 years old. His true identity was a 30-year-old Alliance Deputy Alliance Master who had trained for many years. After confirming this fact, many who knew the truth could not help but mock themselves, especially those who blindly believed in Han Jianglin. They wanted to slap themselves. Su Yu had already revealed the truth, but they were still mocking him. Little did they know that Han Jianglin was a despicable person, a dignified Deputy Alliance Master pretending to be a junior genius, shamelessly competing with them. How preposterous was that? How laughable! How shameless was that? In the air, Su Yu was slightly stunned. Then his eyes shot out a monstrous coldness. Lu Jun! The doubts in Su Yu's heart were all explained in that instant. Why would Nameless, whom he had never had any relations with, be hostile toward him? Why would he suddenly kill him 3 days ago? Why did he feel that there was a problem with Nameless' identity? Everything had been answered. Because he was someone Su Yu had to kill. Lu Jun! It was him who had forcefully taken an Euro away from the Lucien faction. It was him who had forced an Euro to seal her soul. It was him who had ruthlessly killed him on the day of the Yunxiang cabinet's birthday. All of this, in addition to the palm that had almost killed him 3 days ago, had combined to form an unprecedented hatred. Lu Jun had been heavily injured by the Provenance Saint's 8 characters, and his organs had been completely destroyed. However, if he swallowed a flesh regeneration pill, there was still a possibility of recovery. Guild Master, save me! After a short delay, Han Jianglin finally arrived. However, his expression was unprecedentedly ugly. Lu Jun had been exposed. His reputation as the Alliance Master was destroyed in a single day. Just imagine, arranging his subordinates to manipulate the outcome of the match. His reputation would be completely ruined. In the future, no matter who mentioned Han Jianglin, they would never forget this day. This was a devastating blow to Han Jianglin's prestige. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed past. Humph! Lu Jun, how dare you? For the sake of the flesh regeneration elixir, you actually dared to impersonate a genius of the younger generation and break the rules of the competition. Kneel down immediately and kowtow to everyone in the world to admit your mistake. He actually wanted to take drastic measures and push all the blame onto Lu Jun. Although some people were suspicious, there was no evidence to prove that it was Han Jianglin's doing. Lu Jun was even more cunning. He instantly understood and hurriedly bowed to apologize. Lu Jun, was confused for a moment. For the sake of the flesh regeneration elixir, I did something despicable. Please forgive me. This made even more people feel relieved. Han Jianglin secretly wiped the sweat off his forehead. That was close. Calming himself down, Han Jianglin wore an ashamed expression as he looked around at the crowd. As the Alliance Master, I have inspected the competition. I am ashamed to face my compatriots in the 100 territories. I am willing to resign and give up the position of the Alliance Master. I will choose someone else. In the 100 Territories Alliance, he was the most powerful person. Apart from him, who else was qualified to take the position of the Alliance Master? Even if he dared to give up, would anyone dare to take the position? These words not only greatly restored his image, but also gave everyone an explanation. Most importantly, he actually did not lose anything. This promise was extremely shocking. At the same time, it was cheaper than any other promise. As expected, in the spectator seats, everyone looked at each other. Although many forces were moved, no one was stupid enough to agree. However, there was one exception. Oh? It is the fortune of the 100 Territories Alliance that Alliance Master Han is able to recognize the severity of his crimes. For you to voluntarily resign from the position of the Alliance Master and choose someone else, I am truly impressed. A discordant voice reverberated throughout the beast-fighting arena. The bodies of countless people trembled. As they looked towards Su Yu, the corners of their mouths twitched involuntarily. How daring! Han Jianglin's expression turned rigid, and he froze for a moment. Su Yu walked over expressionlessly. Alliance Master Han, I am extremely impressed by your noble sentiments. This matter should not be delayed. Please hand over the Alliance Master's seal. We can take advantage of the fact that all the forces of the 100 Territories Alliance are present to choose a new Alliance Master. Han Jianglin froze on the spot, his expression turning ugly. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he stared at Su Yu secretly. He mouthed, "Do you want to die?" Su Yu let out a cold laugh, mouthing back, "Are you an idiot? You have wanted to kill me more than once or twice. If I do not make things difficult for you now, will you be merciful and let me go? Please, don't say such meaningless nonsense." After saying this, Su Yu opened his mouth. Alliance Master Han, where is the seal? Why are you not handing it over? Could it be that you were just speaking casually just now? Could it be that you have no intention of repenting? Could it be that you only want to deal with the crisis in front of you and send everyone away? A series of rhetorical questions forced Han Jianglin into the heart of the struggle. At the same time, the atmosphere of the audience became strange. Everyone could see that Han Jianglin would definitely not hand over the position of Alliance Master. What he had said just now was merely a way to calm the situation. Now that he had been forced by Su Yu, he revealed his true colors. Han Jianglin's mind was filled with killing intent. On the surface, he put on a righteous expression. My words are worth their weight in gold. However, changing the Alliance Master is a serious matter, and we need to consider it carefully. As for you, what are your intentions, disregarding the 100 Territories Alliance's comfort and forcing me to resign from the position of Alliance Master now? What is your motive? Who sent you here to create trouble? Speak. Han Jianglin looked at Su Yu, shouting loudly. In a few words, he had shifted the conflict from himself to Su Yu. Su Yu looked up to the sky and laughed. Alliance Master Han, what a great way to invert right and wrong. Su Yu let out a long laugh. You do not care about your own matters, but you want to punish me first? Han Jianglin let out a cold grunt. I am the Alliance Master of the 100 Territories Alliance. Everything I do is for the benefit of the 100 Territories Alliance. Your identity is suspicious, so I naturally have to interrogate you first. After the matter is over, I will seek punishment from the world. Su Yu let out a cold laugh. Seek punishment? Are you going to resign from the position of Alliance Master again? Hearing the sarcasm in Su Yu's words, Han Jianglin let out a stern grunt. Enough. Haven't you caused enough trouble in the Alliance meet? A great Alliance meet has been reduced to such a state because of you. What punishment do you deserve? Su Yu laughed angrily. If you wish to incriminate someone, you can always find a pretext to frame them. As the Alliance Master, your eyes are really blind. Let me ask you, who is the one who pretended to be a genius and forced away the true geniuses? Han Jianglin let out a cold grunt. Is there a need for me to answer you? Of course you do not need to answer. Everyone in the world is watching. All of this was done by Lu Jun. Su Yu continued, let me ask you again. Who was the one who exposed this despicable person who disrupted the order? Han Jianglin's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He was about to speak, but Su Yu waved his hands. I know that as the Alliance Master, you naturally feel it is beneath you to answer me. Everyone in the world can answer that it was me. The person who disrupted the order was exposed by me, Yu. Dare I ask, if I was the one who exposed the person who disrupted the order, maintaining the fairness and order of the Alliance meet, why is it that Alliance Master Han says that I am the one who caused the Alliance meet to end up in such a state? Han Jianglin was speechless. He could not allow this kid to find any loopholes. Otherwise he would, humph. Let's not talk about this first. You killed 5 guards and are savage by nature. Just based on this, I have the authority to kill you on the spot as a warning to others. Han Jianglin quickly changed the topic. Su Yu could not stop laughing. What a great joke! Let me ask you, why did I kill them? Su Yu countered with a question. Han Jianglin let out a cold grunt. Of course it is because you slandered Lu Jun. You deserve. His words stopped abruptly. Looking at the current situation, Lu Jun was not slandered. Su Yu let out a cold laugh. I did not slander him, did I? Since I did not slander him, Was it wrong for Alliance Master Han to arbitrarily send people to kill me? Since I was wrong, was it right for me to kill him in self-defense? Since it was right, how could you be savage by nature? Could it be that being killed by your people is considered kindness? Hence, Alliance Master Han, I am the greatest contributor to the Alliance meat. If not for me, many people would have been kept in the dark. Perhaps the flesh regeneration elixir of the Alliance Master would have been swindled by that despicable person, Lu Jun. Hence, if Alliance Master Han insists on killing me, it can only mean that you want to silence me. Han Jianglin raised his eyebrows, his ferocious aura filling the air. This Su Yu had completely destroyed his plans, causing his honor to be tarnished. In the end, Su Yu still dared to call himself a contributor. But what Han Jianglin did not expect was for Su Yu to continue. Finally, I do not hope for Alliance Master Han to reward me. After all, to be able to get rid of a scourge for the Alliance is something I should do. But please, Alliance Master Han, give me the reward that should have belonged to me, the 2 flesh regeneration elixirs. The veins on Han Jianglin's forehead throbbed. He clenched his teeth so tightly that they were about to shatter. His eyes were spitting fire. You still have the face to ask for elixirs? He had severely injured his son, Han Su, to the point where he was half dead. The remaining 2 elixirs were meant to save his son's life. He had gone to great lengths to arrange for Lu Jun to obtain first place. In the end, his plans had been completely destroyed by Su Yu. He had not found trouble with Su Yu, but Su Yu still dared to ask for elixirs. Chapter 263. Nonsense. This Alliance Master's promise is worth 1,000 gold. Naturally, I will fulfill my promise. Han Jianglin immediately scolded, but why should I give it to you? Su Yu surveyed the surroundings. Do you think that there is anyone more qualified than me? Wu Yaoyue had been eliminated from the competition, and Lu Jun, who had disguised himself as nameless, had been severely injured by Wu Yu. He was indeed the champion of the Alliance meet. If he was not qualified to obtain the flesh regeneration elixir, then no one else was. Han Jianglin squinted his eyes. You seem to have forgotten that I have already announced that you are disqualified from the competition. The flesh regeneration elixir was his son's life-saving elixir. How could he hand it over? Haha, Alliance Master Han seems to have forgotten why I was disqualified from the competition. I suffered the wish of the despicable Lu Jun. You acted arbitrarily and sent experts to capture and kill me. Logically, I had to resist. After resisting, you disqualified me from the competition. Looking at the entire process, you were the one at fault, but I was the one to bear the responsibility. Now that the truth is out, are you still not willing to retract your punishment? After a few rounds of questioning, Han Jianglin had no way out. Under the gazes of thousands of people, he had to hand over the flesh regeneration elixir, no matter how unwilling he was. Take it. Whiz, a reddish-brown jade bottle flew over. Su Yu caught it with his palm. 2 yellow elixirs lay quietly in the jade bottle. Threads of shocking vitality seeped out of the jade bottle. Taking a breath, Su Yu felt his flesh become excited, and he craved for it. This was the first time Su Yu had seen something that could excite his flesh. Without a doubt, this was the flesh regeneration elixir. Are you satisfied? Han Jianglin said indifferently. It was as if he was not worried that Su Yu would take the elixirs away. Su Yu also understood what Han Jianglin was thinking. Today, Su Yu could forget about leaving this place alive. Su Yu had already used space teleportation and could not teleport away again. Under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to escape from the hands of the strongest martial artist of the 100 Territories Alliance. Hence, Han Jianglin dared to be at ease and hand over the 2 flesh regeneration elixirs. Su Yu kept the jade bottle. His eyes glowed as he looked at Lu Jun. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Alliance Master Han, please fulfill my request. Speak. Han Jianglin said indifferently as a cold arc flashed across the corner of his mouth. That is. A black Tai Chi fish suddenly appeared in Su Yu's palm. Please punish Lu Jun. Seizing in Euro caused her soul to seal itself away. Trying to kill Su Yu had almost put his life in danger. If this person did not die, Su Yu would not be able to take this lying down. Han Jianglin was slightly taken aback. Then, his face darkened. I will deal with Lu Jun's crime. Just wait for the news. Su Yu stepped forward and said, Lu Jun has committed a heinous crime. If he is not punished on the spot, it will be difficult to convince the public. Before Su Yu could finish his sentence, Han Jianglin's voice suddenly became sharper. I said, stand down. Are you the leader, or am I? How to deal with Lu Jun is up to me. Seeing that Su Yu was still at a stalemate, Han Jianglin emitted a cold aura. I will say this one last time. Back down. Looking down on the alliance leader is also a great crime. Wisps of spiritual energy slowly seeped out of Han Jianglin's pores. If Su Yu resisted in the slightest, he might really attack him in front of everyone. All right. Su Yu nodded and slowly retreated a few steps. Han Jianglin shot a cold glance at him. Su Yu finally gave in. But at that moment, crack, a cracking sound could be heard. The black Tai Chi fish in Su Yu's palm was completely shattered. A burst of space energy surged and enveloped Su Yu. Han Jianglin's expression changed abruptly. Space energy again. His heart skipped a beat. If Su Yu was transported away, then the two flesh regeneration elixirs. Stand still. The competition has not ended. Without my orders, no one is allowed to leave the arena. Han Jianglin gave a low grunt and attacked Su Yu with his palm. He wanted to blast Su Yu out of the space fluctuation. His heart was burning with anxiety. If Su Yu really escaped, wouldn't his son die without a doubt? Seal of time. The unique techniques that Su Yu could use were not limited to space control alone. Han Jianglin's body stopped for a moment, unable to move. Whoosh, seizing the opportunity, Su Yu flew toward the heavily injured Lu Jun. You deserve this. Lu Jun. Lu Jun's identity towards Su Yu was no longer a secret from the moment he saved in Euro. There was no need to mention the enmity between the two of them. Su Yu. Wait, don't you want to save in Euro? Lu Jun said hurriedly, throwing a bomb at Su Yu. Su Yu's eyes narrowed. In the past 3 days, the Shentian Manor had been controlled by the Han family. The Yunxiang cabinet had also been controlled by the Han family. As for Euro, who was hiding in the Yunxiang cabinet. Where is she? Su Yu said coldly. Lu Jun's eyes turned rapidly. If you promise not to kill me, I'll tell you. You have no choice. Su Yu gave a grunt. He grabbed Lu Jun with his palm, wanting to take him away. Lu Jun was obviously stalling for time, waiting for Han Jianglin to attack. I'll fight it out with you. Lu Jun gave a loud roar, using all his strength to stall for time. Humph! Space distortion. Su Yu gave a low grunt. At once, a distorted space was attached to Lu Jun's right leg. Crack creak, a horrifying scene appeared. Lu Jun's right leg was distorted by the space, turning into flesh and blood. In an instant, he became a cripple who had lost his right leg. Lu Jun shrieked like a pig being slaughtered and almost fainted. Su Yu took the opportunity to grab his head and teleport him along with the space energy. But just as the teleportation was about to succeed, Han Jianglin suddenly woke up. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Die! The strongest martial artist of the 100 Territories Alliance attacked in anger. Rumble, as he moved, the wind rose and the clouds surged, changing the color of the sky. A formless aura locked onto the surroundings. At once, Su Yu felt as if 100,000 zhang tall mountain was pressing down on him, causing his organs to tremble violently, showing signs of destruction again. No. This was a more terrifying sign of death then using the Buddhist saint's 8 characters excessively. Destroy. With that one word, Han Jianglin raised his palm, releasing spirit energy that was as thick as a wrist, heading straight for Su Yu's chest. Along the way, the sky trembled and the ground cracked. Everything that had a form was destroyed. Su Yu had never seen such a powerful attack in his life. At that moment, Su Yu felt as if he was an ant facing a dragon. The difference was too great. So great that even legendary-level techniques paled in comparison. With this attack, Su Yu would die without a burial place. But at the critical moment, Su Yu clenched his teeth, suppressing the fear in his soul, and shielded Lu Jun in front of him. Creak! The terrifying spirit energy was like a divine power. Lu Jun's chest, without any resistance, was blasted into a giant bloody hole on the spot. Even though it did not penetrate Lu Jun's chest, it still turned his chest into ashes. The accompanying monstrous energy passed through Lu Jun's body to Su Yu. Puff! Su Yu spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot, suffering from a heavy impact. But that was only the first wave of energy. Lu Jun's body continued to release destructive energy. The energy passed through his body and attacked Su Yu. But at that moment, the space energy finally finished rolling, teleporting them away completely. Crash! In the secret chamber of the Ouyang family. The space fluctuated, and a figure shot out like a giant rock, crashing into the stone wall of the secret chamber, splattering a large amount of flesh and blood. After that, Su Yu stepped out with blood at the corner of his mouth. Su Yu's heart was filled with shock. What level has Han Jianglin reached? They are both immortal realm fighters, but why is the difference between him and Lu Jun so great? Su Yu's soul was still filled with fear. The attack just now was too terrifying. Forcefully calming the waves in his heart, Su Yu stepped forward to check on Lu Jun, and could not help but gasp. Lu Jun's chest was empty, turned into nothingness by that terrifying attack. The blood in his body had evaporated instantly, leaving not a trace behind. The flesh in his body had also dried up, like bacon. Seeing this, Su Yu felt that he had been cautious, crushing the Tai Chi fish in advance. If he had been a step late, he would have ended up like Lu Jun. At this time, Lu Jun was on the verge of death. His breath was hanging by a thread, and he only had a few breaths left. "Where is Enuro?" Su Yu asked. But Lu Jun was indifferent. Su Yu's expression sank. After a moment, he said in a low voice, "If you can still hear me, tell me, where is Enuro? I can promise you one thing. I will kill Han Jianglin for you." Han Jianglin's furious attack could not have failed to consider that Lu Jun was in Su Yu's hands. Killing Su Yu was equivalent to killing Lu Jun. But he still attacked without hesitation. The real person who killed Lu Jun was, in fact, Han Jianglin. Hearing this, Lu Jun's lips finally moved slightly. At 9 Cloud Tower, 9 Cloud Tower? The Lin family's 9 Cloud Tower? Su Yu's heart skipped a beat. Why was she at the Lin family? Thump! After saying it with difficulty, Lu Jun exhaled his last breath, his body softening to the ground. Ziyunxiang was surprised. Enuro, the woman with the 9 body? Ziyunxiang knew a little about the woman that Lu Jun had brought back. She had been prepared to be trained in the Yunxiang cabinet. She had heard Lu Jun mention that she had the 9 body. The 9 body was extremely cold, and her yin energy was much stronger than the average person's. This was the reason why Lu Jun had to get her. "I think he is not lying," Ziyunxiang said. "Enuro might really be at the Lin family's 9 Cloud Tower. Only the 9 Cloud Tower's miraculous high-temperature flames could suppress the yin energy in Enuro's body and condense it together, making it convenient for dual cultivation to obtain all of it. Lu Jun had once planned to send her into the Lin family's 9 Cloud Tower, but the Lin family master refused, delaying it until now. Now that the Alliance master has the most power, the Lin family master had no choice but to agree. 9 Cloud Tower. Su Yu's eyes flashed. "There is no time to lose. I will head to the Lin family immediately. Miss Z, please bear with it for the time being and stay here. The outside world is dangerous. I will bring you away when I am safe. Zi Yunxiang nodded obediently. When Su Yu left, they did not notice that a small black bug had crawled out of Lu Jun's ear. It passed through the small gap in the secret room and flew to the outside world. A few miles away, in an inn, a young man stood with a sword in his arms. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and extended his palm. The black bug stopped on his hand. Prince Yaoyue, the young man said, you have great foresight and strategy. I believe that Nameless did not expect us to have a backup plan. The young man was Wu Yaoyue, who had withdrawn from the competition. At that moment, behind Wu Yaoyue, besides Huang Xiaoyan, there was also an old man with a crooked figure. He was about 80 years old, and his skin was full of wrinkles, as if a pile of old skin was about to peel off. His face was covered in patches of spots, giving people a gloomy feeling. His cultivation level was unfathomable, as deep as the ocean. One look at him would make one's hair stand on end. Only people like Alliance Master Han and Zi Donglai would have such a feeling. But at that moment, he was flattering Wu Yaoyue. Wu Yaoyue's identity was extraordinary. Wu Yaoyue was expressionless, but his eyes were filled with ferocity. He must have obtained the flesh regeneration elixir. This item is mine. The gloomy old man laughed sinisterly. After obtaining the flesh regeneration elixir, the prince only needs to find an euro to fulfill his promise. At that time, Miss Mo Wu will be willing to marry the prince. Chapter 264. Huang Xiaoyan grinned and laughed. Ha ha ha, Brother Yaoyue went deep into the enemy's territory for a woman. If this news gets back to the dark forest, it will definitely be a beautiful story. Hearing Mo Wu's name, Wu Yaoyue's arrogant face revealed a rare gentleness. Ha ha, Mo Wu is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. In this world, other than me, Wu Yaoyue, there is no one else who is worthy of her. Now, I have the whereabouts of the flesh regeneration elixir. I will find her teacher and heal her face. According to the agreement, she will follow me to the dark forest and become my princess. His eyes blazing, Wu Yaoyue said, Old Huang, I'll leave the task of obtaining the flesh regeneration elixir to you. You must complete this task. Hee, don't worry, Prince. If the flesh regeneration elixir is in the hands of the 100 Territories Alliance Master, it would be fine. However, a mere level 2 Immortal Realm Junior would not be able to escape from my hands. Wu Yaoyue nodded. Alright. Find Nameless and take the flesh regeneration elixir. As for me, since I already know where an euro is, I will personally go and invite her. The Lin family. His expression was gloomy. Lin Lingjian's death was an indescribable blow to the Lin clan. In Patriarch Lin's house, Lin Aojue, who had just returned from the competition, knelt on the ground and begged for forgiveness. Clan head, please punish me. Aojue is incompetent. I was unable to obtain first place and bring glory to the clan. The Lin family head was dressed in a green robe. Bitterness and hatred appeared on his aged face. It's not your fault, it's my fault. Yunhe introduced Su Yu to me because I lacked judgment. I missed him and did not kill him completely. That is why Lin Lingjian died. The Lin family's grandmaster laughed at himself. In the past, Su Yu could have become a member of the Lin family and been used by them. He was blind and had let Su Yu, who had a grudge with the Lin family, go. If I had known this would happen, I would have eliminated him that day. Whoosh, this is bad, Patriarch. Someone barged into the Lin family and injured the guards at the gate. A guard hurriedly reported. The Lin family patriarch's expression changed slightly, his anger evident. Do you really think that my Lin family is on the decline? Come with me. Patriarch Lin rushed to the door angrily. However, other than the guards who were wailing and rolling on the ground, there was no one else. Where is he? Where are you going? Patriarch Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. Patriarch, he escaped. Escape? The Lin family Grandmaster was slightly surprised. In just a few minutes, he had dealt with the group of Dragon Realm Level 3 guards at the entrance. His strength was far above theirs, there was no reason for him to escape. The Lin family head narrowed his aged eyes slightly, and his cold gaze swept across the area, shooting toward the 9-Cloud Tower. His eyes shone brightly. Quick! Head to 9-Cloud Tower immediately. This is a ploy to lure the tiger away from the mountain. 9-Cloud Tower. Outside the tower, there was a mess of unconscious guards lying on the ground. The door of the pagoda silently opened. The first floor was burning with raging blue flames. The underground passage leading to the second floor had long since been opened. A figure in a moon-white robe stepped on flames and walked to the center of the underground flames. A head of silver hair and a mask. Who else could it be but Suyu? What Suyu saw was a crystal coffin. A beautiful figure lay quietly within the blazing flames. Her expression was serene, as if she had fallen into an eternal slumber. That ugly face was a ghastly sight. She was in Euro. At this moment, faint red light flowed around in Euro's body. Like a trickle of water, it flowed silently towards her abdomen and converged into a small red pool. Waves of magical energy radiated from the small pool. When Suyu got closer, he felt cool, his body extremely comfortable. This was the primordial Een. In the high temperature, the primordial Een scattered throughout Euro's body had all gathered together. Now that it had taken shape, it would be harvested by Lu Jun. Looking at the peacefully sleeping Euro, Suyu felt an indescribable sense of gratitude and respect. 10 years ago, she had successfully escaped Lu Jun's evil clutches. 10 years later, she had willingly lured Lu Jun here for Suyu. She had also pretended to be happy and left with Lu Jun. From the first time they had met, Euro had silently protected him from behind. If not for her, Suyu's fate would have been tragic. Opening the crystal coffin, Suyu hugged her tightly, saying gently, "Second Elder, I, Suyu, have come to repay your kindness." Whoosh! Suyu's gaze flickered as he left 9-Cloud Tower. But he did not leave quietly. Instead, he charged toward the horizon, flying away from the Alliance City. Any fighter in the Alliance City would have sensed such a huge commotion. Whoosh! At that moment, the Lin family Grandmaster arrived. He saw a white figure on the horizon, his old eyes filled with killing intent. Intruding into my Lin family, kill without mercy. What made him even more furious was that this person had not tried to avoid arousing suspicion, flying through the air to escape. He did not respect the Lin family at all. Whoosh! The Lin family Grandmaster chased after him. His cultivation level was much higher than Lin Lingjian's. As the family Grandmaster of the 3 great ancient regions, his abilities were the strongest. He was second only to Han Jianglin. The alliance meet had just ended, and many powerful fighters from the various forces were still in the city, not yet retreating. How could such a commotion in the sky above the alliance city escape their eyes? Han Jianglin's cold eyes seemed to pierce through the clouds. His pupils dilated, his killing intent changing. Suyu had snatched his son's life-saving flesh regeneration elixir and killed Lu Jun in front of everyone. Evil creature! I will not forgive him for killing the Deputy Alliance Master. Han Jianglin said righteously, flying into the clouds. The expressions of the other families and forces changed. The figures of Suyu and the Lin family Grandmaster were like fleeting shadows, constantly changing. Half a cup of tea's time. Outside the Alliance City, on the snowy plains. Do you think you can leave so easily after barging into my Lin family? The Lin family Grandmaster let out a loud grunt, shooting a bolt of spirit energy towards Suyu's back. Suyu's expression changed, and he had no choice but to stop. He turned his head, revealing his true appearance. The Lin family Grandmaster's pupils dilated. "It's you!" A cold intent exploded. Losing a great elder had dealt an unprecedented blow to the Lin family's reputation and abilities. Are you here to kill me, Lin family grandmaster? Suyu took a light breath. The Lin family grandmaster's old face was filled with ice. If you had not appeared before me and I could not find you, I would not have killed you. But you killed an elder of my family and barged into my Lin family. If I do not kill you, how can the Lin family convince the masses? The Lin family grandmaster released his spirit energy, covering the surroundings with his killing intent. Suyu said coldly, Lin Lingjian tried to kill me time and time again. I was wrong to kill him. I am indebted to an euro. I could not tolerate her being in trouble. I was wrong to save her. The killing intent in the Lin family grandmaster's old eyes deepened. No matter how wrong he was, there was no need for you to kill him. Don't forget who recommended you to the Lin family, and who gave you the chance to enter the Nine-Cloud Tower to further your studies. It was the Lin family. But you are ungrateful. You killed an elder of the Lin family, bringing shame to the Lin family and greatly reducing our abilities. Ask yourself, are you worthy of Lin Yunhe, the Lin family, and your own conscience? Every sentence contained the Lin family grandmaster's anger and regret. Chapter 265. Ungrateful? Lin family grandmaster, have you forgotten who forced me not to leave the Lin family, forcing me to accept an attack from the genius of the Lin family? Who was the one who said that all grudges would be settled after one move? Now that things have come to this, you are telling me that I, Suyu, still owe the Lin family a favor. The Lin family grandmaster was speechless, his killing intent growing. Fine. Even if you do not owe me a favor. But on account of Lin Yunhe, why could you be so ruthless towards a member of the Lin family? Even if Lin Lingjian wanted to kill you, if you had told me, I would have warned him. But what did you do? You actually killed him. Hearing such unreasonable words, Suyu could not help but let out a cold laugh. What a joke! So you also know that I was recommended by Master Lin Yunhe. When you were making things difficult for me at the Lin family, did you consider Master Lin Yunhe? When Lin Lingjian wanted to kill me a few times, did he ever consider me, Master Lin Yunhe? No. Finally, when Lin Lingjian wanted to kill me, what were you doing? As the Lin family grandmaster, don't tell me that you knew nothing about his actions. But what did you do? Did you warn him? Did you advise him? No. You only allowed him to kill an insignificant junior. Now that Lin Lingjian has been killed by me, you only think of Master Lin Yunhe? Do you still have any shame? Suyu let out a cold grunt. The Lin family grandmaster was speechless. Back when they had made things difficult for Suyu, even when Lin Lingjian had wanted to kill him, they had not considered Lin Yunhe. But now, they were forcing Suyu to consider Lin Yunhe. Humph. What a glib tongue. It is a fact that you killed Lin Lingjian. If I do not kill you, I will not be able to appease my anger. The Lin family grandmaster suddenly attacked. A power that could destroy heaven and earth locked down a part of the sky. That terrifying aura was close to Han Jianglin's, causing Suyu's gaze to turn serious. No one can save you, kid. The Lin family grandmaster's killing intent was thick, and he attacked. But Suyu revealed a smile that was not a smile, his gaze shooting toward the ground. You have followed me all this time. Isn't it time to come out? He had just said this when a strange scene appeared beneath their feet. The soil on the ground began to squirm and condense into a human figure. It was an old man with wrinkles all over his face. His entire body exuded a sinister aura. This person had been following Suyu for a long time. Even before he entered the Lin family, Suyu had already sensed his presence. Suyu had followed him all the way until now, and had not attacked him at all. Patriarch Lin's face changed drastically. Who are you? For some reason, Patriarch Lin had a bad premonition. The strength of this sinister old man seemed to be extremely terrifying. Could this be a trap set by Suyu? With a glint in his eyes, Patriarch Lin immediately withdrew his hand and retreated. However, the sinister old man on the ground sneered, "You want to leave alive after seeing this old man's true appearance?" Earth Dragon Technique. The old man lightly tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. Suddenly, the ground shook, and an enormous earth dragon, 300 meters long and 10 meters thick, flew out from the depths of the earth and attacked Patriarch Lin. Patriarch Lin's pupils shrank as he turned pale with fright. Earth Dragon Technique, UUR. He seemed to recognize the old man's identity. But the Earth Dragon swept down, swallowing Patriarch Lin's words along with his body. Su could only hear the pathetic cries of Patriarch Lin from within the Earth Dragon's stomach. "How is this possible? How could you escape from the forbidden grounds?" Creak. The pathetic cries stopped abruptly. What replaced them was a large amount of blood seeping out from the Earth Dragon's stomach. Following that, the Earth Dragon returned to the ground, leaving behind a trail of blood. The Lin family's master, the strongest fighter of one of the three great ancient regions, had fallen. His abilities were at least Immortal Realm Level 3. However, such a powerhouse had perished just like that. The sinister old man lifted his head, staring at Su with a sinister gaze. "You are the first person to dare use me." Su had long sensed the existence of the sinister old man. There was only one explanation for why he had followed Su closely. Su had something that he needed. This was the reason why Su was fearless. "I think you're prepared to die, right? Nameless." The sinister old man grunted. He was the sinister old man that Wu Yaoyue had sent to retrieve the flesh regeneration elixir. At this moment, he still misunderstood that Su was nameless. Nameless? Su's eyes were filled with shock. "You want to kill me?" Su shook his head. "You have to at least deal with them first." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He had just finished his sentence when a number of figures flew over from the horizon. The person at the front was the 100 Territories Alliance Master, Han Jianglin. The sinister old man's gaze turned serious, and he said sinisterly, "Lad, you did this on purpose?" When Su had escaped from the Lin family, he had not been sneaky. Instead, he had charged into the sky, causing a huge commotion. This was not Su's recklessness. It was intentional. If Su had escaped quietly, he might have been able to escape the Lin family, but he would have been killed by the mysterious old man. Rather than that, he might as well take the risk and blow the matter up. He would draw out the Lin family's master, then attract the attention of the fighters of the Alliance City. This way, the mysterious old man would deal with the Lin family's master, and the fighters of the Alliance City would deal with the mysterious old man. As expected, the sinister old man grunted. "Lad, I will remember this." Whoosh! The sinister old man immediately burrowed into the soil. The entire process was silent. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, Han Jianglin and the rest of the people finally caught up. What they saw was a ground full of flesh. The Lin family's master had been blasted into pieces. The fighters from the families who had followed them gasped, looking at Su in disbelief. The Lin family's master had been killed. What kind of terrifying abilities did Su have? Only Han Jianglin looked in the direction where the sinister old man had disappeared. He had seen it more clearly than anyone else. It was not Su who had killed the Lin family's master, but a mysterious old man. But with a flash of his eyes, Han Jianglin's expression was stern as he coldly berated, "How dare you kill the Lin family's master? What grudge does he have with you? Why are you so ruthless? If Lu Jun deserved his punishment for breaking the competition's rules, then what did the Lin family's master do wrong? Why did you do it?" Han Jianglin looked at him furiously. The people from the families also looked at him furiously. You are too cruel. Not only did you kill Lin Lingjian, you also killed the Lin family's master. What grudge does the Lin family have with you, to be so ruthless? At first, I sympathized with you. After all, it was Lin Lingjian who had made things difficult for you. But now you are too disappointing. A person like you deserves to die. Even Ouyang Long didn't dare to interrupt them. Ouyang Yusin, who had caught up, felt a sense of relief when she saw the scene. The more outstanding Su Yu was, the more upset she felt. Now that he was surrounded by enemies and was being attacked by the combined forces of all the factions, dying on the spot, that was the best fate for him. All the unhappiness and gloominess in his heart in the past had vanished at this moment. Looking at Su Yu again, Ouyang Yusin shook her head. So what if he is a genius? He has no background and can only be trampled on. Thinking back to her many regrets, Ouyang Yusin cursed herself for being foolish. The person she wanted to marry only had abilities. That was far from enough. He also needed a powerful background. Only then could she be completely at ease. Otherwise, talent alone would make it difficult for him to grow. Faced with the crowd's condemnation, Su Yu was silent, not defending himself. Han Jianglin laughed coldly, letting out a long sigh. With this, the flesh regeneration elixir could once again fall into his hand. Kneel. Die. Han Jianglin took a step forward. It was a light step, but it was as heavy as a mountain, causing the blood in Su Yu's body to boil. The familiar feeling of death once again welled up in his heart. However, Su Yu revealed a faint smile at the corners of his mouth. Chapter 266. If you have the time to kill me, why don't you take a look at who's coming? Su Yu's gaze pierced through the heavens, shooting straight into the clouds. Above the heavens, a thick white cloud spread out leisurely. Upon closer inspection, a majestic figure was faintly discernible within the white cloud. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, overlooking the land like the king of heaven and earth. Hee. Interesting. Whoosh, the majestic figure blurred and disappeared, but a figure suddenly appeared in front of Su Yu. He was handsome, with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. His eyes were bright and full of expression. He was calm and magnanimous, naturally dignified, like a king descending upon the world. Han Jianglin's pupils dilated. Empire of Darkness Palace Master, Ling Xiaotian? The expressions of the powerful fighters from the various families changed, all of them filled with fear. The Empire of Darkness was a forbidden legend on the continent. It was a mysterious force that had been passed down from ancient times until today. The sub-palaces spread across the 4 continents were terrifying existences that could intimidate a continent. Palace Master Ling Xiaotian was the terrifying fighter that commanded the sub-palaces of the Empire of Darkness. His abilities were among the top in the northern continent. Only the Phoenix Cabinet's Master and the Snow Listening Tower's Master, the 2 mysterious legendary fighters of the northern continent, could match up to him. Such a powerful fighter had appeared in the 100 territories. All the clans and forces were shocked. They didn't even have the qualifications to see a legendary expert like Ling Xiaotian. But now, he was right in front of them. Ouyang Yusin's eyes trembled violently, her soul in awe. The Empire of Darkness Palace Master had such a majestic status. The Ouyang family was like an ant in front of him. Ling Xiaotian looked around, his gaze lingering on Han Jianglin for a moment. He nodded his chin, then fixed his gaze on Su Yu. It was a calm look, but Su Yu felt as if his entire body had been seen through. Long time no see, Ling Xiaotian said with a faint smile. The 9 fingers of imaginary thunder that Su Yu used was a gift from him. He had been there when Enyuro was taken away. How could he not know that Enyu's true identity was Su Yu? Hearing this, the silent scene was filled with the sound of suppressed gasps. The Empire of Darkness Palace Master actually knew Enyu. This discovery caused them to be overwhelmed with shock and despair. Who exactly was Enyu? Su Yu was secretly grateful that Ling Xiaotian had not announced his true identity in front of everyone. If his identity was exposed, Mystic Moon Island and his friends and family would be targeted by his enemies. It would be a disaster. Greetings, Palace Master Ling. I will never forget the favor of giving me the merit. Su Yu bowed. Ling Xiaotian chuckled. I also didn't expect that the poor kid from back then would grow to such a height in just a few months. That day, Su Yu was only Dragon Realm level 3. In front of the great elder of the Lucian faction, he could be killed with a flick of his finger. But now, it had grown to the point where it could kill a powerhouse like Lu Jun. The changes before and after were as different as heaven and earth. Even Ling Xiaotian could not help but look at him in a different light. Seems like this trip was not in vain. Han Jianglin laughed softly. Yin Yu, are you willing to join the Empire of Darkness? What? Inviting Su Yu into the Empire of Darkness? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. No. He killed a member of the 100 Territories Alliance. Such an evil person needs to be punished by the 100 Territories Alliance. Han Jianglin immediately objected. Ling Xiaotian turned his head, glancing at him. Alliance Master Han, on account of our temporary alliance, do not question my decision. His expression was calm, but he had a high and mighty aura. Even someone as strong as Han Jianglin, the 100 Territories Alliance Master, had a changing expression, not daring to argue further. It could be imagined that Ling Xiaotian's abilities were far above Han Jianglin's. Only the Phoenix Cabinet's Master and the Snow Listening Tower's Master could compare to the North Continent's 3 great legends. What do you think? Ling Xiaotian smiled as he looked at Su Yu. Su Yu was silent for a moment. The Empire of Darkness was a force that had interacted with him ever since he came to the Zhenlong continent. To think that there would be a day when he would be invited. As if he had seen through Su Yu's concerns, Ling Xiaotian laughed indifferently. Where there are people, there will be Jianghu. If you join the Empire of Darkness, I cannot guarantee that no one will scheme against you. However, what I can guarantee is that as long as you are under my command, I will not let you suffer any grievances. I, the Palace Master, will uphold justice for all matters. Su Yu let out a bitter smile. Does Palace Master Ling think that I still have a choice? Today, he was surrounded by the entire 100 Territories Alliance. If he did not join the Empire of Darkness, he would definitely die a horrible death. Under the pressure of the 100 Territories Alliance, Su Yu had no choice but to make a choice. I am willing to join the Empire of Darkness, Su Yu shouted. This word of willingness caused Han Jianglin's heart to turn cold. Not only did he not kill Su Yu, but he was also forced to join the Empire of Darkness. Ling Xiaotian laughed heartily. Ha ha, good. From today onwards, you are the Empire of Darkness's North Continent's Deputy Palace Master, ranked 10th. Before you, there are 9 other Deputy Palace Masters. All of you are my direct subordinate. Deputy Palace Master. Everyone was shocked. Just like the 100 Territories Alliance's 10 Deputy Palace Masters, the Empire of Darkness's sub-palace also had 10 Deputy Palace Masters. All of them were peerless geniuses with frightening talents and exceptional abilities. They were being groomed as potential Palace Masters. Even if they did not become Palace Masters, they would be groomed for a period of time before being sent to the Empire of Darkness to become a trusted aide of the Empire of Darkness. From then on, they would be above the continent. The Empire of Darkness was the strongest force in the Zhenlong continent. Ouyang Yusin staggered, her beautiful face turning pale. She could not accept the scene before her. Su Yu had turned from a pitiful worm being hunted by the 100 Territories to a Deputy Palace Master of the Empire of Darkness in the blink of an eye. His position was not something the tiny Ouyang family could compare to. Yin Yu, what have you not done? Follow me back to the sub-palace after you are done, Ling Xiaotian said. Su Yu smiled. Yes. Please give me 3 months. 3 months? Ling Xiaotian nodded. All right, I will wait for you in the Alliance City for 3 months. During these 3 months, the red-clothed guards will follow you and protect you. Clap clap, Ling Xiaotian clapped his hands. At that moment, 10 red-clothed figures shot down from the heavens. They were all middle-aged men in their 40s or 50s. Every one of them was an immortal level 2 fighter, no weaker than Lu Jun. During these 3 months, protect him. If anything happens to him, you will be held responsible. Ling Xiaotian grunted. Understood. After saying this, Ling Xiaotian disappeared. The 10 red-clothed guards knelt on one knee. Greetings, Palace Master Yin. Their voices were uniform and loud, piercing through the heavens, shocking everyone. The eyes of the families were filled with dread. This force was enough to destroy most of their families. At this point, Su Yu had officially become the Empire of Darkness's 10th Deputy Palace Master Yin. A feeling of having control over life and death, as well as being high above, welled up in Su Yu's heart. The change in his position caused Su Yu's spirit to suffer a huge blow. But having lived 2 lives, he quickly regained his composure. Rise. Su Yu nodded. Chapter 267. Even though his expression was stern and expressionless, Su Yu could see disdain and dissatisfaction deep within his eyes. Who is the leader of the guards? Su Yu asked. The 9 of them were silent. The expressionless middle-aged man with his neck slightly raised said, I am. Your name, Su Yu calmly said, looking at him. Li Tianxiang, the middle-aged man replied. Li Tianxiang, is it? Are you dissatisfied with me? Su Yu's gaze flashed. Li Tianxiang was expressionless and did not reply, but the disdain in his eyes deepened. Was there a need to say anything? I'm asking you a question, Su Yu said coldly. Li Tianxiang then replied, No. Since it is an order from the Palace Master, I will naturally protect Palace Master Yin. In other words, he did not listen to Su Yu's orders, but only Ling Xiaotian's. Narrowing his gaze, Su Yu calmly nodded. Better not. All right, let's go. Under the respectful gazes of the crowd, Su Yu led the way, disappearing into the horizon. The 10 red-clothed guards followed closely. Han Jianglin coldly glared at Su Yu, then left with hatred. Outside the Alliance City, the sinister old man appeared in front of a tree. Wu Yaoyue and Huang Xiaoyan had been waiting there for a long time. Wu Yaoyue's expression was filled with anger. Damn it! Someone actually beat us to it and kidnapped an euro. Whoosh! The sinister old man returned empty-handed. Where is the flesh regeneration elixir? Wu Yaoyue shouted. The sinister old man was furious. That Nameless is extremely cunning. He lured the strong fighters of the city here, and I could not act. That's right, an euro was snatched away by him. What? Nameless is in his hands? Where is he now? Wu Yaoyue was furious. The sinister old man hesitated. I do not know, trash. Wu Yaoyue was furious. We were about to succeed, but Nameless got there first. The sinister old man lowered his voice. Prince, why do you need to keep your promise? If you force it, Miss Mo Wu will not be able to resist. Why don't you do it? She will naturally follow you. Humph. Do you think I don't want to? Wu Yaoyue gave a cold humph. Mo Wu is cold and arrogant. Unless she is willing, she will not allow anyone to defile her body. She has cultivated a true spirit sword art, hiding the sword in her body. If I use force, she will kill herself by activating the sword in her body. No wonder Wu Yaoyue would put in so much effort. Prince, we've already left the dark forest for too long. It's time for us to return. There are still important matters to attend to, said the sinister old man. Wu Yaoyue was extremely unwilling, but hearing the word major, he could only grit his teeth. All right. Bring Mo Wu back to the dark forest first. Nameless, I'll come back for him sooner or later. 2 months later, Su Yu crossed the ancient Wulong snowfield and entered the Lucian faction. Passing by the abyss of Wudong, Su Yu could not help but sigh as he looked at the once familiar but now desolate scenery. Half a year ago, he had only been a saint king, and his fate had been controlled by the sect. But now, He had become the deputy palace master of the most mysterious force on the continent, the Empire of Darkness. The most dramatic thing was that he had been enemies with the Empire of Darkness many times, but in the end, he had been forced to join them. The cause and effect made one sigh. Suddenly, Su Yu realized that there was an unfamiliar force in the abyss of Wudong, and it was currently excavating the abyss of Wudong. Is it the neighboring Hehuan faction? Su Yu creased his brows. The Lucian faction's power had been greatly reduced, and its territory had shrunk. Su Yu had no sympathy for them. There are still many things I need to do, and the Lucian faction has one. Su Yu's eyes flashed as he looked toward the Lucian faction. A few days later, Su Yu stood with his hands clasped behind his back outside the Lucian faction. Along the way, many of the territories that once belonged to the Lucian faction had already been taken over by the surrounding factions. With the Hehuan faction as the leader, a large portion of the Lucian faction's territory had been taken over by the Hehuan faction. Now, the area of influence had spread to a 100-mile radius around the Lucian faction. Standing at the entrance of the Lucian faction, Su Yu could see a few disciples of the Lucian faction taking off their Lucian faction robes and leaving the faction dejectedly with some money. Most of them were outer sanctum disciples, but there were a few inner sanctum disciples among them. The faction was in a precarious situation. A large number of disciples had given up on the faction. Even the inner sanctum disciples were not optimistic about the faction. It was only a matter of time before the Lucian faction was destroyed. The root cause of all this was the bloodbath that had occurred a few months ago. "Follow me in," Su Yu calmly said. Li Tianxiang creased his brows. "Palace Master Yin, I advise you not to enter. This faction seems to be in chaos. If you enter rashly, it will affect your safety." Su Yu coldly turned his head. "I'll say it again, follow me in." Disdain flashed past Li Tianxiang's eyes, and he said indifferently, "My mission is to protect Palace Master Yin and not to listen to his orders." "Are you unhappy with me?" Su Yu coldly said. Li Tianxiang did not even think, expressionlessly replying, "No, I was only suggesting Palace Master Yin." He did not say anything, but his eyes were filled with disdain. It seemed that he was jealous that Su Yu had become the 10th deputy palace master, causing him to be unhappy. Su Yu's gaze turned cold. "Fine, wait outside. The rest of you, follow me." The remaining 9 people did not have Li Tianxiang's courage to go against Su Yu. Without a word, they followed closely. In the past meeting hall of the Lucian faction, the Lucian faction master, who had returned for less than a day, was filled with grief and anger. The 3rd elder, 5th elder, and 6th elder stood beside the Lucian faction master, glaring angrily. Standing opposite them were 3 men and 3 women. The man in the lead had an evil expression, his entire body filled with a strange aura. His cultivation level was shocking, at Immortal Realm level 1 lower tier, on par with the Lucian faction master. He was the Hehuan faction master, Zhao Qianghuan. The 5 men behind him were the 5 elders. The highest cultivation level was Dragon Realm level 7 peak, followed by Dragon Realm level 7 upper tier. The 7 of them were the strongest in the Hehuan faction. In the past, they were slightly weaker than the Lucian faction. After all, the Lucian faction had 2 Immortal Realm fighters, including the Great Elder. But now, the Lucian faction master was missing an arm, his abilities greatly diminished. There were only 3 elders left, and the strongest was the 3rd elder, who was only Dragon Realm level 6. The 7 people of the Hehuan faction had descended upon the Lucian faction with ill intentions. "Haha, Lucian faction master, what do you think of the conditions?" Zhao Qianghuan wore an evil smile. The Lucian faction master slammed the table in anger. "You want my Lucian faction to hand over our beautiful female disciples to the Hehuan faction? Humiliate and refine the primordial Yin? You have gone too far." Zhao Qianghuan stood with his arms crossed, laughing evilly. "Haha, so what if I have gone too far? Do you still think that the Lucian faction is the faction of the past? Right now, you're just slightly stronger than the average family. Chapter 268. The Lucian faction master was furious. After leaving the faction for a month, the faction's territory had shrunk by more than half. Zhao Qianghuan, give him a way out. Don't push him too hard. Otherwise, no one will benefit. The Lucian faction has already successfully sent a disciple into the Shantian Manor. When he returns, aren't you afraid of getting even with you? Unexpectedly, Zhao Qianghuan laughed loudly. Is that so? The Hehuan faction has also sent a disciple into the Shantian Manor. In the alliance meet, your faction's Ji Hongxue was only ranked 60 to 70. The genius disciple of the Hehuan faction, Duan Yu, fought his way into the top 50. Moreover, his cousin is in the Shantian Manor. His cultivation level is much higher than ours. Do you think that Ji Hongxue will have a good time in the Shantian Manor? What? The Lucian faction master was instantly worried. Lucian faction master, how about this? I will only choose 10 female disciples this time. How about that? At most, I will return them in a few days. Hearing this, the Lucian faction master and the 3 elders felt humiliated. Even if these female disciples returned, they would definitely be sucked dry of their primordial yin and suffer endless humiliation. Humiliation! If this matter spread, the reputation of the Lucian faction would be destroyed. However, the 4 of them remained silent and did not refute him. Did the Lucian faction still have a choice? The Lucian faction master closed his eyes in pain. Gather the female disciples. After a while, the female disciples who did not know what was going on were gathered. Chan Yufei was among them. Her pretty face was filled with surprise. She stared at the unfamiliar strong martial artists of the Hehuan faction in astonishment. Zhao Qianghuan swept his gaze across the crowd and fixed his gaze on Chan Yufei's face. His eyes lit up. She was delicate and refined. She was extremely beautiful. Her figure was exquisite, her breasts were full, her buttocks were perky, and her legs were round. What a graceful young lady! In addition, her cultivation level was very high. She had entered the dragon realm. She was the best tool to refine primordial yin. All right, I will choose her. Zhao Qianghuan laughed mockingly. He raised his palm and grabbed Chan Yufei. A suction force pulled her over and grabbed her wrist. At such a close distance, Zhao Qianghuan was even more satisfied. Haha, she is still a virgin. The primordial yin is well preserved. This lady is mine. The other 5 had lustful looks in their eyes. Amidst the panicked screams of the young female disciples, 9 of whom were extraordinarily good-looking were chosen by them. Just like that, the 10 female disciples were chosen. Haha, thank you, Lucian faction master, for fulfilling my wish. Don't worry, after 3 days, this sect master will naturally return them. Zhao Qianghuan said with a mocking smile. The Lucian faction master and the other 3 clenched their fists secretly, but they did not dare to resist. He could only let those female disciples cry and scream as they were taken away by them. Chan Yufei's expression changed. She instantly understood what she was about to face. What are you doing? Sect master, save us! Chan Yufei's eyes were filled with panic. The Lucian faction master did not dare to look at her. He only clenched his teeth and said bitterly, "For the faction. All of you bear with it for once. The faction will be grateful to all of you." They had been betrayed by the sect. No, the sect was powerless to save them. Chan Yufei's face turned pale, and she struggled with all her might. "Let go of me. I don't want to go with you." The consequences were too terrifying. She could tell from Zhao Qianghuan's eyes what kind of terrifying things she would encounter in the next 3 days. Zhao Qianghuan laughed evilly. "Little beauty, don't worry. I will let you have a comfortable life. In 3 days, I will not leave even if I send you away. Now, even your faction master cannot save you. Who else can you rely on?" Chan Yufei was so afraid that tears welled up in her eyes. Suddenly, a person's figure popped up in her mind and she quickly said, "It's you! Let go of me! I am Su Yu's woman. If you dare to touch me, he will definitely take revenge for me." "Su Yu?" Zhao Qianghuan's figure froze. How could he not know why the Lucian faction had fallen overnight and fallen to such a state? It was rumored that a heaven-defying genius had appeared in the Lucian faction. He had been forced by the Lucian faction to betray the faction, and he had massacred half of the Lucian faction's elders alone. His existence had become a taboo legend in the Lucian faction. Zhao Qianghuan froze for a moment. He then regained his senses and gave a cold grunt. "Do you think that my Hehuan faction is as useless as your Lucian faction? If he dares to appear in front of me, I will kill him with one palm." Zhao Qianghuan had a cold smile. "Furthermore, it is unknown whether or not he is still alive. Can he come back to save you? What a joke!" But at this moment, a cold wind suddenly swept into the main hall. The curtains fluttered and fluttered. The cold wind blew past everyone's faces. Looking over, a silver-haired youth had appeared silently at the door. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back. Under the silver mask, his eyes were as calm as the wind of autumn and winter. They were clear and cold. "Is this a joke? I don't find it funny." The silver-haired youth stepped into the room. The faction master's pupils dilated. He then gasped. The uncrowned king of the Alliance meet, Yin Yu. He had personally witnessed the battle. How could he forget the terrifying genius? He had killed the Alliance deputy Alliance master alone. None of the heroes of the world dared to fight him. He had actually appeared in the Lucian faction in such a desolate place. The Lucian faction master even wondered if he was dreaming. Now, Yin Yu's name had yet to spread. But the faction master believed that once it spread, his name would spread throughout the 100 territories. He would become the #1 genius of the 100 territories alliance. The people of the Hehuan faction had yet to understand the alliance meet in detail. When they heard that the uncrowned king of the alliance meet was the youth in front of them, their expressions turned serious. Zhao Qianghuan was polite. "Young hero, what is the meaning of this? Could it be that my words offended you?" To be able to obtain first place in the alliance meet, his background must be extraordinary. It was natural for Zhao Qianghuan to be polite. Su Yu ignored him. He looked at Chan Yufei and calmly said, "Let go." Zhao Qianghuan hesitated, his heart filled with fear. He slowly let go. The other 5 elders felt that the situation was not right. They let go of the female disciples in their hands. In an instant, the female disciples had tears in their eyes. With Chan Yufei at the lead, they hugged their heads and sobbed. Zhao Qianghuan cupped his fists, a polite smile on his face. "May I know your name? Why have you come to the Lucian faction? Did I allow you to speak to me?" Su Yu calmly looked at him. Zhao Qianghuan's expression turned rigid. He could not maintain his dignity. He slightly bit his teeth, the muscles in his cheeks twitching. He was a little angry, but he controlled himself rationally. He looked at Su Yu and lightly grunted. "Let's go." The 5 elders also looked at Su Yu deeply. They looked at each other, understanding the meaning in each other's eyes. They had to investigate this person's background first. They could not rashly provoke the enemy. "Did I allow you to leave?" Su Yu asked without turning his head. Zhao Qianghuan stopped in his tracks, his expression turning green. "Yin Yu, aren't you going overboard? You don't allow me to speak. Are you not allowing me to walk?" Su Yu turned around, calmly shaking his head. "You can walk, but leave your life behind." Chapter 269. Zhao Qianghuan laughed angrily. "Yin Yu, I respect you as the uncrowned king of the alliance meet, that's why I'm giving you face. If you continue to be so overbearing, don't blame me for being impolite." Su Yu's gaze turned cold. "How impolite?" Looking around, not sensing any powerful auras, Zhao Qianghuan sneered. Don't forget, this is a barbaric land. Even if you died here, no one would know. In other words, without the protection of the elders, Su Yu might be killed in such a barbaric land. Is that so? Su Yu calmly said, his figure suddenly becoming blurry. Several shrill screams suddenly resounded. Looking over, the 3 Dragon Realm Level 7 elders of the Hawan faction had their hearts crushed. Streaks of residual lightning struck their wounds, releasing a burning smell. As for Su Yu, he stood behind them, a long sword made of thin threads dripping with fresh blood. Everything happened as fast as lightning. They did not even have time to react before their lives were taken. Only the 2 Dragon Realm Level 7 peak and upper-tier elders managed to react in time, dodging the attack. Zhao Qianghuan's expression turned rigid, shock rippling in his eyes. Killing 3 Dragon Realm Level 7 fighters with one strike? This was the power of the uncrowned king of the Alliance meet? The elders of the Lucian faction were equally shocked. Zhao Qianghuan clenched his teeth, feeling an indescribable threat from Su Yu. Split up. After saying this, the 3 of them charged out of the hall, flying in 3 different directions. Su Yu's gaze fixed on Zhao Qianghuan, flying out. Lad, you and I have no grudges, why must you kill me? Zhao Qianghuan's expression turned grave, turning his head. Su Yu slowly caught up, calmly saying, coming to the wrong place and bullying the wrong person is a grudge. Zhao Qianghuan's mind flashed with lightning. Who are you? What is your relationship with the Lucian faction? Closing the distance between them, Su Yu took a deep breath. Don't you already know? Rumble. Another bolt of lightning flashed in his mind, staring at Su Yu's head of silver hair. He gasped. You are Buddhist saints' 8 characters. Lin. Roar, a destructive sound wave swept across the area. Creak. Zhao Qianghuan instantly turned into a rain of blood. The joyful Union sect master had perished in an instant. From the elders to the disciples of the Lucian faction, everyone was shocked. The leader of a faction, in the hands of Yin, could only perish. The uncrowned king of this alliance tournament was this terrifying? Even the Lucian faction master, who had seen Su Yu kill Lu Jun with his own eyes, could not hide his shock. The silver-haired youth in front of him was a demonic genius who could destroy the Lucian faction. Outside the Lucian faction, Li Tianqiang, who had witnessed the scene, narrowed his eyes. What a terrifying technique! However, a trace of disdain immediately appeared in his eyes. You're just SOSO. An immortal realm level 1 lower tier can also be killed in seconds by me. Thank you, Mr. Inu, for your help. The Lucian faction master led a group of elders forward. The Lucian faction master shifted his gaze and pushed Chan Yufei forward. Judging from their conversation just now, it seemed like Inu and Chan Yufei had some sort of relationship. He was most likely doing this for Chan Yufei. Chan Yufei was overwhelmed by the favor, and her mind went blank. She couldn't remember ever knowing such a young elite before. However, just as a large group of people was about to advance, 9 fiery red figures descended from the sky and surrounded Su Yu to protect him. Insolence! You dare to be insolent with Palace Master Inu here? The 9 red-clothed guards chided in unison. Palace Master Inu? The Lucian faction master had left in a hurry, not knowing that the Empire of Darkness had appeared. However, the Lucian faction master recognized the 9 red-clothed guards in an instant. Empire of Darkness, red-clothed guards? The Lucian faction master lost his voice in shock. It was rumored that the people of the Empire of Darkness were split into many levels. The silver-clothed guards were the lowest level, usually holy kings. The black-clothed guards were at the Dragon Realm. As for the red-clothed guards, they were at the legendary Immortal Realm. They only listened to the orders of the Empire of Darkness's Palace Master. In an instant, the Lucian faction master understood the meaning of the words, Palace Master Inu. The Lucian faction master's heart trembled, his face filled with shock. Surrounded by the 9 red-clothed guards, Su Yu was like an emperor descending from above, looking down on the tiny Lucian faction. Greetings. Greetings to Palace Master Yin Yu. The Lucian faction master bowed. A deputy palace master of the Empire of Darkness. How noble was that? The expressions of the rest of the Lucian faction master changed, hurriedly bowing. In the blink of an eye, the entire place was dead silent, not even daring to breathe. Su Yu nodded nonchalantly. Lucian faction master, Chan Yufei, follow me. Whoosh! Su Yu entered the meeting hall, the Lucian faction master and Chan Yufei nervously entering. As the door closed, Su Yu turned, his gaze landing on Chan Yufei. His cold face wore a smile. Senior Chan, long time no see. Have you been well? After saying this, Su Yu took off his silver mask, revealing his true appearance. Su Yu. Chan Yufei and the Lucian faction master lost their voices in shock. They both had silver hair, but they had never connected the two of them together. Su Yu was strong, but he was far from the glory of being the uncrowned king of the Alliance meet. After being stunned for a long time, Chan Yufei was pleasantly surprised. She finally understood why Yin Yu had stood up for her. The Lucian faction master also finally understood why Su Yu had come to the Lucian faction. Chan Yufei's eyes were filled with respect and surprise. Her face turned red. In order to protect herself, she had called herself Su Yu's woman in a moment of desperation. Thank you, junior brother, for saving me. Chan Yufei lowered her head, her face red. Su Yu calmly smiled. It was nothing. Senior Chan need not worry. If you have any trouble in the future, just mention Palace Master Yin Yu's name. Chan Yufei was elated. How important was the Empire of Darkness Vice Palace Master? At least in the coastal region, no one dared to anger him. After saying this, Su Yu looked at the Lucian faction master. This gaze caused the Lucian faction master to shudder. He let out a bitter laugh. You are here to seek revenge, aren't you? His heart was filled with bitterness. This uncrowned king, the high and mighty vice palace master of the Empire of Darkness, should have been the pride of the Lucian faction. But he had been forced away by them, and now he was back to seek revenge. Is there a need for you to seek revenge for me? Su Yu calmly said. The Lucian faction master froze, revealing a look of relief. He hesitated. Then why did you come to the Lucian faction? Whoosh! Su Yu took out an ancient bronze token from his robes. It was filled with an ancient aura, and the words Lucian token were carved on it. As he held the badge in his hand, memories flooded Su Yu's mind, causing his heart to ache. Li Guang had guarded Xinyue Island for 100 years in order to obtain the Lucian token and clear his name. Before he died, he had given it to Su Yu. If necessary, he could give it to the Lucian faction in exchange for a request. But no matter how many difficulties Su Yu faced, he had never used it. This was Li Guang's lifelong wish. He had used 100 years, wasted his life, and a lifetime of hard work in exchange for the Lucian token. How could Su Yu use such a heavy token? Lucian token? The Lucian faction master was surprised. Such a token had not appeared in 100 years. Lucian faction master, do something for me. Our grudges will be written off. Su Yu tossed the token back. This is the token of Li Guang, a disciple of the Lucian faction from 100 years ago. He had been wronged for 100 years, and after obtaining the Lucian token, he only had one wish. He wanted to investigate what had happened and prove his innocence. The Lucian faction master's palm trembled. Was Su Yu's request so simple? When the Great Elder had tried to seize power, Han Ji had revealed the truth of what had happened 100 years ago. All that was left was for the Lucian faction to announce Li Guang's innocence. Yes, Palace Master Yin Yu. This was Su Yu's only wish for coming to the Lucian faction. A moment later, Li Guang's name as a sinner was erased from the Lucian faction's pillar of shame. At the same time, he gathered the Li family to listen, announcing the 100 years of grievances to the world. From then on, Li Guang's name was completely cleared. Su Yu's wish was fulfilled. It was time to fulfill his last wish. Glancing at Li Tianqiang, who was waiting outside the Lucian faction, Su Yu retracted his gaze expressionlessly. Li Tianqiang hesitated for a moment before letting out a light grunt and flying over to join the red-clothed guards. "Senior Chan, take care of yourself." Su Yu stood in the air, cupping his fists as he bid farewell. Chan Yufei smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Junior Su, for your kindness." Su Yu nodded, looking at the Lucian faction master and nodding his chin. "Take care." The Lucian faction master's heart was filled with bitterness. "Thank you for saving me today." Pausing, the Lucian faction master hesitated. "If you wish to cross the ocean, I hope you will be careful. The ocean has not been peaceful recently." "Speak clearly." Su Yu raised his brows. Looking around at the ruined faction, the Lucian faction had declined because of Su Yu. However, today it had been saved because of him. The Lucian faction master had mixed feelings. "We do not know the exact situation," he said. "All we know is that in the past month, there have been frequent sightings of powerful sea demons in the ocean. Many strong martial artists have entered the ocean and never returned. Some of the forces that went to investigate the situation, including their leaders, never returned." Su Yu was shocked. Among the coastal factions, the Lucian faction was the weakest. In other words, the factions that went to investigate were stronger than the Lucian faction. However, he was met with a situation where he could not return. What had happened in the ocean in the past few months? "Thank you for the reminder." Su Yu cupped his fist. Under the respectful gazes of the people of the Lucian faction, he led the red-clothed guards away. Chan Yufei looked at Su Yu's disappearing figure, her eyes filled with regret and disappointment. In the past, they had only been separated by a thin line. But from now on, Su Yu would fly further and further away, to the point where she could no longer catch up. 2 days later, all the invading factions within the Lucian faction retreated like the tide. No one dared to step into the Lucian faction again. The Hehuan faction was almost completely annihilated. The threat of killing the chicken to warn the monkey was beyond imagination. At the same time, on the ocean, Su Yu led 10 red-clothed guards across the ocean, heading toward Shenyue Island. Upon entering the ocean, Su Yu immediately felt the changes in the ocean. Silence. Deathly silence. Apart from the raging waves, there was only dead silence and the sounds of crashing waves. Su Yu's crystalline pupils looked over, his expression turning serious. Within a 50-mile radius, there were no living creatures. Not to mention demonic beasts, even normal fish and bugs had disappeared. The ocean had become a dead sea at some point. Li Tianqiang creased his brows. "Palace Master Yin, if you wish to cross the ocean, I advise you to give up. There is something wrong with this ocean." Su Yu ignored him. "Let's continue." I said, "There is something wrong with the ocean. It is best to give up." Li Tianqiang was slightly angry. Su Yu looked at him coldly. "Who is the palace master?" Hearing this, Li Tianqiang clenched his teeth. "It's you." "Who is listening to whose orders?" Su Yu calmly said. Li Tianqiang clenched his fists, clenching his teeth. "It's you." "Since you understand, what did you mean just now?" Su Yu's gaze was slightly cold. Facing the gazes of the other 9 red-clothed guards, Li Tianqiang did not dare argue. He explained, "I was only thinking for Palace Master Yin." Su Yu let out a cold grunt. "Are you thinking for me, or for your own vanity? If you are unhappy with me, just say it. Are you still a man by hiding it?" Li Tianqiang was furious, but he remembered Su Yu's status and did not dare offend him, remaining silent. Chapter 270. Mystic Moon Island was 100,000 miles away from the blue ocean. However, along the way, Su Yu didn't see any signs of living beings. It was as if all living beings had disappeared overnight. What happened? Why did such a drastic change occur in such a vast ocean? Su Yu's expression gradually became grave. However, Even though the atmosphere was strange, Su Yu did not encounter any danger along the way. Suppressing his doubts, Su Yu once again stepped onto Shunyue Island. A familiar feeling welled up in his heart. Gazing at the faintly discernible Fenghuang Valley in the distance, Su Yu's heart stirred. The scenery was still the same, but the people had already changed. Xian'er Jingyu, Li Guang, these people who had disappeared in his life never returned. Filled with nostalgia, Su Yu passed by Fenghuang Valley. However, he discovered that Fenghuang Valley had long been in ruins. The valley was covered with withered grass, and the once glorious palace was only left with ruins. Broken fences and broken walls were reflected in the dust. It was like a broken dream, desolate and desolate. In the dead silent ghost city, there were only a few figures hiding in the depths of the ruins. In just half a year, the once glorious Fenghuang Valley had fallen to such a state? Could it be that the departure of the master of Fenghuang Valley had caused internal strife? Thinking of this, Su Yu could not help but think of the sanctuary. It was built by Li Guang. After Li Guang left, what was the situation in the sanctuary? Would it be like Fenghuang Valley, defeated overnight? Su Yu's gaze flickered as he looked toward the north of Shunyue Island. 3 days later. Within the Fenglin Empire. Before the Saint level. All of you wait here. I'll be right back. Su Yu pushed open the space barrier and stepped into the Saint realm. A floating island floated in the sky. Smoke curled up from the chimneys of the houses in the distance. It was a peaceful scene. However, there was no one in sight. The island was in an uproar. The sounds of fighting and killing echoed in the sky. What was going on? Su Yu had a grave look in his eyes as he used his crystalline pupils to look over. His pupils could not help but contract slightly. On the island, there were not only Saint Realm experts, but also Phoenix Pavilion experts. Moreover, there was another mysterious force. The Sanctuary disciples formed an alliance with the people of the Phoenix Pavilion to deal with the mysterious force together. The members of the mysterious force were all dressed in loose animal skins, and their faces were filled with savagery and bloodthirstiness. There were a total of 10 of them, and every one of them had the power of a Saint King. Among them, the strongest youth had the power of a 3rd-level Saint King. Half a year ago, Shunyue Island only had Li Guang and Su Rong who were Saint Kings. In the short span of half a year, a group of unfamiliar Saint Kings had appeared. It was unbelievable. What was even more unbelievable to Su Yu was that among the 10 people, one of them was someone he knew. In the alliance between the Sanctuary and the Phoenix Pavilion, a 30-year-old young man held a longsword in his hand. His face was filled with deep anger. "Lai Hua, old bastard, I crippled your cultivation and spared your life. Yet, you did not repent and colluded with outsiders to open the sanctuary space and let the wolf in." The fiery minister was once one of the 9 great ministers of the sacred region. During the holy meet of the Fenglin Empire, the fiery minister, who was the host of the holy meet, sided with his disciple, Du Yunfei, and put Su Yu at a dead end. It was Qiu Changjian who appeared, killed Fang Yun, crippled the fiery minister, and drove him away. But today, with the cultivation of a Saint King, he had returned to the sanctuary. The fiery minister looked around at the familiar place. His aged face was filled with resentment as he laughed out loud. "Little boy with a sword. You did not expect this, did you? Back then, you crippled my cultivation and drove me out of the sanctuary. You did not expect me to return as a Saint King." Qiu Changjian's eyes were filled with despair. Saint King. That was the pinnacle of cultivation for all the martial artists in the world. In the entire continent, only Li Guang had reached that level. The fiery minister's cultivation had been crippled, but he had become a Saint King. "Old bastard! You were born in the sanctuary, but you invited the enemy to invade. You are the sinner of the sanctuary. If the Saint King returns, he will grind your bones to dust." Qiu Changjian said with grief and indignation. Since Li Guang's departure, many of the sanctuary disciples had left the sanctuary. Only Qiu Changjian and a few other holy disciples persisted. They firmly believed that Li Guang would return one day. But instead of waiting for Li Guang, a disaster awaited them. With the arrival of 10 Saint Kings, the entire continent would be destroyed, let alone the sanctuary. The fiery minister sneered. What is a mere Li Guang? If he had not disappeared, I would have killed him. Qiu Changjian's eyes were filled with sorrow. He looked back, his heart aching. Behind him were faces filled with fear and despair. Among them were old holy disciples who had stayed behind, as well as newly joined youths. They were supposed to be carefree and full of longing for the sanctuary. They were supposed to be diligent in their cultivation. They were supposed to be full of expectations and longing for the future. They were supposed to strive hard and dream of making a name for themselves, standing tall on the continent. But now they were replaced by pairs of eyes that were crying in fear. Qiu Changjian's heart was filled with grief. He bowed his head and said, I am sorry, senior brother is useless. Woo woo, the mournful cries reverberated in the world. Qiu Changjian's eyes were moist. It did not matter if he died, but they were still children who trusted the sanctuary. They still had a tomorrow that belonged to them. Qiu Changjian turned around and looked at the fiery minister. Fiery minister, the person you hate is me, and the person you are looking for is also me. You can kill me, but please spare their lives. The fiery minister's face was filled with mockery. That year, when you crippled my cultivation, you did not have this expression. Qiu Changjian felt humiliated. He bowed and said, Fiery minister, since you are from the sanctuary, let them live. He, all right, kneel down and kowtow. The fiery minister sneered. Qiu Changjian's body trembled, and he knelt down, kowtowing to a former traitor. This humiliation would forever be engraved in his mind. However, after a moment of silence, Qiu Changjian's knees gave way. Bang, with this kneel, all dignity and honor were destroyed. Bang, 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 3 consecutive kowtows echoed in the quiet island. Everyone looked at Qiu Changjian, who was forced to kneel. The people of the sanctuary and the Phoenix Pavilion were filled with sorrow. Qiu Changjian raised his head, his forehead red. Minister, please let them go as promised. The fiery minister nodded with a faint smile. I am a man of my word. Naturally, I will let them go. Men, chop off their arms and legs. Don't let a single one of them escape. What? Qiu Changjian suddenly stood up and said angrily, Fiery minister, what do you mean? What do I mean? Of course I am keeping my promise. The fiery minister sneered. I only promised to let them live, but I did not promise that they would be unharmed. Qiu Changjian's eyes turned black. He was extremely furious. Old thief! You deceived your teacher and destroyed your ancestors. The sanctuary will perish because of you. The fiery minister laughed loudly, his smile sinister. You are right. I want the sanctuary to perish. I served the sanctuary at your beck and call, the fiery minister said. In the end, because of Su Yu, you crippled my cultivation base and expelled me from the sanctuary. Everything that happened today is what you deserve. The fiery minister released a hatred that came from his soul. His expression was incomparably sinister at this moment. Kill. Leave no one alive. Today, I will completely erase the sanctuary from the Xinhue continent. The raging wind howled and sorrow intertwined. A one-sided massacre was about to descend. But at this moment, a silver-haired figure appeared from the horizon, as if teleporting. Fiery minister, I have not seen you for a year, but you are still the same. You have not changed in the slightest. An unfamiliar voice, an unfamiliar figure, but a familiar face that caused Qiu Changjian's pupils to shrink. Su! You! Qiu Changjian cried out in shock. The fiery minister glanced over, slightly stunned. He immediately recognized the face, and could not help but be filled with hatred. Su Yu! Su Yu had long since taken off his mask, revealing his true appearance. Floating over, Su Yu's aura was concealed, making it difficult for others to see through him. At least, the fiery minister could not see through Su Yu's cultivation base. He only felt that Su Yu was average. Qiu Changjian was both surprised and happy. Junior Su, you have returned. What about teacher? Where is he? Qiu Changjian looked into the distance as he questioned Su Yu. There was only silence in his eyes. Senior Qiu, teacher has not returned. Su Yu did not reveal the truth. Qiu Changjian's heart suddenly sank. A bitter expression once again covered his face. Junior Su, you should not have returned. Xunyue Island continent, what happened? Su Yu glanced at the people from the Feng Wang Pavilion. Qiu Changjian mournfully said, a few months ago, there was a huge change in the Xunyue continent. From the sea, 9 extremely terrifying experts appeared. All of them had incomparably huge demonic beasts as their mounts. I saw with my own eyes that one of them destroyed an empire with a single finger. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of millions of lives were wiped out. Su Yu's pupils shrank. Destroy an empire with one finger? What kind of terrifying fighter was that? Not to mention Su Yu, even Ling Xiaotian would not be able to destroy an empire with one finger. Moreover, there were actually as many as 9 experts of this level. Did the Zhenlong continent have so many powerful fighters who could destroy the world? The fiery minister's cultivation base was forcefully restored by one of the 9 fighters. Furthermore, he was helped to cultivate to become a holy king in a short period of time. Furthermore, that expert also casually gave the fiery minister 9 Saint King followers. Their mission was to rule Xunyue Island. Hence, the continent was turned upside down in one night. The Feng Wang Pavilion was destroyed in one night. Only they managed to escape, taking refuge in the sanctuary. All forces under the heavens surrender. Only my saint region is hidden and mysterious. It is difficult for outsiders to know about it, but the fiery minister found it. In half a year, Xunyue Island had undergone such a huge change. Who were those 9 mysterious fighters? Destroying an empire with one finger, massacring millions of lives. Could the desolation of the sea have something to do with them? Suppressing the waves in his heart, Su Yu shot a cold gaze toward the fiery minister. What was their purpose in ordering you to rule Xunyue Island? Su Yu asked. The fiery minister was fearless, his murderous intent rising. Junior, shouldn't you be worried about your own life first? Back then, you killed my beloved disciple and caused my cultivation base to be crippled. Now you dare return, Su Yu calmly repeated. I'll ask again, what was their purpose? Having been forced to answer twice, the fiery minister let out a sinister laugh. Are you muddle-headed? You can't even see the situation clearly. Su Yu creased his brows. Looks like you'll only answer me this way. Creak, Su Yu did not move. He merely waved his wrist, his sleeves fluttering, and a few muffled sounds could be heard. Thud, but a strange scene appeared. The 9 holy kings beside the fiery minister all fell to the ground. Looking at them, the space between their eyebrows had been pierced. In the blink of an eye, Su Yu had killed 9 holy kings. The fiery minister maintained his sinister smile. His entire body was like an ice sculpture, motionless. His heart was beating wildly, all the way to his throat. His throat seemed to be blocked by something. His lips trembled for a moment before he stammered, Who are you? Chapter 271. The bloody scene instantly destroyed the fiery minister's line of defense. Unifying Xunyue Island is to gather all the forces and search for a key. Su Yu's eyes flickered. What key? Whoosh, however, it was at this moment that a cunning light shot out from the depths of the fiery minister's eyes. His whole body flashed with a blood-red light, and he turned into a ball of red light that soared into the sky. Blood escape. Su Yu's gaze turned grave. He sacrificed his life force to increase his speed to escape. Su Yu turned around and cupped his fists at Qiu Changjian. Senior Qiu, I have no time to stay. See you again. Shuar, his figure also disappeared into the sky. Only the saints were left on the ground. Everyone was still in a state of shock from the fact that he had casually killed 9 Saint Kings. It took a long time for him to wake up. Senior brother Qiu, is that our Saint Realm's senior brother Su? The newly promoted juniors asked with deep reverence and worship. Su Yu's name had long become a legend in the sanctuary. His talent was extraordinary, like a comet streaking across the sky, incomparably dazzling. Qiu Changjian could not believe it and muttered, maybe. What is senior brother Su's cultivation level? A single person and a single move had killed so many Saint Kings? Could it be that he has already surpassed us and is a Saint King? Qiu Changjian's face was full of shock. Perhaps he has also cultivated to the level of a holy king. Outside the sanctuary, the fiery minister's movement technique was extremely fast as he headed straight for the Twilight Mountains. Su Yu chased after him relentlessly. The red-clothed guards sensed the commotion and chased after him. Half a day later, in the depths of the Twilight Mountains, in front of a valley, the fiery minister entered with a pale face. In front of a cave, the fiery minister urgently cried for help. Master, save me quickly! In the cave, a middle-aged man wearing a bamboo hat stood quietly in front of an underground passage. Hearing the commotion, he raised his head slightly, revealing a pair of white eyes beneath the bamboo hat. His eyes were completely gray, like the eyes of a dead man. Death is not to be regretted. You're half dead, yet you still exposed me. The middle-aged man in the bamboo hat snorted coldly. He didn't move, but his white eyes shot out 2 beams of white light. Ah! The fiery minister let out a blood-curdling scream and died with blood flowing out of his 7 orifices. Stepping on the corpse of the fiery minister, the middle-aged man wearing the bamboo hat walked out of the cave with his hands clasped behind his back. His pale eyes shot in the direction of Su Yu, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. You are courting death. At the entrance of the valley, Su Yu and the red-clothed guards had grave expressions. Li Tianxiang's expression turned serious. Immortal Realm Level 2 Peak. Let's go. Among the 10 great red-clothed guards, only Li Tianxiang was an Immortal Realm Level 2 upper tier. The other 9 were all Immortal Realm Level 2 lower tier. Even if the 10 of them attacked together, they might not be able to defeat the man in the bamboo hat. Su Yu squinted his eyes. He was no stranger to this place. The ruins of the Twilight Mountains. His divine decree was obtained from the underground ruins, and the underground tunnel in the cave led to the ruins. What was he doing here? Didn't you hear me? Let's go. Li Tianxiang looked at the white-eyed man from afar, his eyelids twitching and his heart thumping wildly. He urged impatiently. Su Yu shook his head and said, in front of a strong enemy, running away will only give him a chance to defeat us one by one. Only by staying together will we have a chance of fighting him. He did not expect the fiery minister to have such a strong fighter backing him. Li Tianxiang was furious. I have protected the palace master for many years and am very experienced. If you want to live, you had better listen to my suggestion. Only then can we avoid the possibility of our entire army being wiped out. Even if we have to sacrifice a few of our comrades? Su Yu looked over coldly. Li Tianxiang said in a low voice, of course. We were born as members of the Empire of Darkness, and we will die as ghosts of the Empire of Darkness. Sacrificing for the Empire of Darkness is our honor. Palace Master Inu, please give the order. Brothers, we have already made up our minds. Li Tianxiang cupped his fists as he spoke, standing at the front and preparing to leave. Su Yu nodded his head slightly. Good. Since that is the case, you will be the last. The rest of the red-clothed guards will retreat with me. Su Yu said expressionlessly. Li Tianxiang's expression changed, becoming furious. I will be the last? Are you trying to kill me with a borrowed knife? Humph! Weren't you full of righteousness and morality just now? Sacrificing for the empire of darkness is your honor? Why, now that you are about to die, you don't want your honor anymore. Su Yu shook his head in disdain. The muscles on Li Tianxiang's face twitched, defending himself. I am the leader of the red-clothed guards. As the leader, I have to command the troop. If I die, my brothers will die even faster. So, the ones who die should be them? And not you? Su Yu let out a cold grunt. Li Tianxiang was not ashamed, defending himself forcefully. Humph! I have already said that I am still useful alive. Once this matter is over, I will find a chance to sacrifice my life for the empire of darkness. Su Yu looked down on this person from the bottom of his heart. He let out a mocking laugh. In the end, people like you are just using the lives of your comrades to protect your own. You want them to buy time and divert the enemy's attention, giving you a chance to escape. You are greedy for life and afraid of death, yet you encourage others to sacrifice their lives. What right do you have to become a red-clothed guard? Su Yu coldly scolded. Li Tianxiang let out a grunt, his face filled with dissatisfaction. If you do not want to be the last, listen to my orders. Su Yu warned him one last time. Red-clothed guards, listen to my orders. Get into formation and await my orders. Without my orders, you are not to retreat. Those who disobey will be killed. Su Yu quickly ordered. After saying this, Su Yu left the red-clothed guards alone, flying toward the bamboo hat middle-aged man. The 9 red-clothed guards looked toward Li Tianxiang. Leader Li, we get into formation first. Don't move. Li Tianxiang glared at Su Yu's back with hatred. The 9 red-clothed guards said, But Palace Master Inu alone. Li Tianxiang's eyes flashed with a sinister smile, but his expression was stern. You talk too much. Since it is the Palace Master's orders, as guards, we naturally have to obey. Following this, with Li Tianxiang at the lead, the 10 of them got into an offensive and defensive formation. If the bamboo hat middle-aged man were to attack, the 10 of them could attack together. This way they could avoid casualties to the greatest extent. The bamboo hat middle-aged man had a mocking expression. You can't even control your subordinates, useless. Su Yu did not reply, instead sizing up the powerful fighter with terrifying abilities. His white eyes glowed with a strange light. The bamboo hat middle-aged man said indifferently, The abilities of the few of you are not bad. If you swear loyalty to me, I will spare your lives. What if I say no? Su Yu calmly said. The bamboo hat middle-aged man creased his brows. Did I speak to you? What I want are your guards. As for a burden like you, of course I will send you on your way. Su Yu had a cold smile on his face. The bamboo hat middle-aged man did not look at him, his eyes unable to contain Su Yu's figure. He stared at the red-clothed guards, indifferently saying, With the few of you, you are at most at the level of being my assistants. You are dreaming if you think you can escape unscathed with just a formation. Abandon your wishful thinking. Hai Quangren, never give people a second chance. Answer me one last time. Swear loyalty to me, or I will send you on your way. The bamboo hat middle-aged man threatened coldly. The red-clothed guards had a cold expression. Li Tianxiang's gaze was filled with struggle, but he quickly regained his cool. It is not so easy to kill us. Hai Quangren lightly shook his head. I have heard your choice. Now I will send you on your way. Do not blame me, this is your own choice. Hai Quangren's body was surrounded by the aura of an immortal realm level 2 peak. The oppressive power caused the hearts of Li Tianxiang and the rest to tighten. Chapter 272. Whoosh! Hai Quangren took a step forward with his hands behind his back, sprinting toward the red-clothed guards. An oppressive feeling that caused one's heart to palpitate enveloped their hearts. Have you forgotten about me? Su Yu, who had been ignored, asked leisurely. Hai Quangren did not even turn his head to look. He waved his sleeves, shooting out a bolt of spirit energy. Scram! The spirit energy surged, its power overbearing. Even an immortal realm level 2 could not defend against it. But Hai Kuangren was surprised. The expected sound of destruction did not appear. Instead, a bolt of destructive energy was gathering. When he turned his head to look, Su Yu had already opened his mouth. Buddhist Saints 8 characters. Lin. Roar. A shocking roar stirred the vital energy of the universe. A terrifying aura surged forth like a raging wave. Hai Kuangren was caught off guard and was enveloped. Thump! Hai Kuangren grunted as he was swept hundreds of meters away, crashing into the walls of the valley. Even though he was not heavily injured, he had sustained serious injuries. Hai Kuangren was shocked. What technique is that? Su Yu replied with a cold expression. A technique that can kill you. Su Yu took another deep breath, and another terrifying destructive energy was brewing in his mouth. Hai Kuangren's expression changed. Soul divine light. His pale eyes suddenly shot out 2 white beams of light, which went straight into Su Yu's mind. He wore a cold smile. So what if your technique is powerful? You can't even withstand a single blow. But the expected scene of Su Yu bleeding from his orifices did not occur. Su Yu merely grunted. His Buddhist Saints 8 characters forcefully interrupted. What? How is that possible? My soul attack is useless against you? Hai Kuangren was shocked. Su Yu's gaze turned even colder. That white beam of light was indeed a soul attack. Gifted souls were rare talents in the Zhenlong continent. Yet another one had appeared. The ruthlessness of this technique could destroy the souls of people of the same level. Luckily, Su Yu had cultivated Heaven's Sun gazing at heir to lower class. His soul had doubled in strength, far stronger than a normal person. He had only felt a wave of pain. This person could not be allowed to live. Whoosh! But Hai Kuangren's reaction was fast. His mind raced and he made a decision to escape immediately. He might not be afraid of Su Yu, but he was wary of Su Yu's strangeness. He was so fast that no one present could stop him. Because of the direction in which he fled was the red-clothed guards. All of you scram, otherwise you will be killed without mercy. Hai Kuangren shouted. Li Tianxiang's eyelids twitched violently as he secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Su Yu said coldly, maintain the formation, do not retreat. He had already given the order. Without his order, they were not allowed to retreat. However, Li Tianxiang's eyes flashed with a hint of struggle. He suddenly retreated and roared, brothers, spread out. The 10 red-clothed guards hesitated, but their leader's escape caused their willpower to crumble. Whoosh! The entire team immediately dispersed and fled in all directions. Su Yu's eyes were about to pop. Li! Heavens! Powerful! Li Tianxiang turned around and explained angrily, I'm the captain. The situation is critical, so I naturally have the right to make a decision on the spot. Hearing the shameless rebuttal, Su Yu's murderous intent rose. Seeing the situation, Hai Kuangren was overjoyed, his lips forming a mocking smile. What a pity! You hid your abilities well, but your subordinates are cowardly and weak. If the 10 of you were to join forces, not only would I not be able to deal with you, I might even die in your hands. But now... With a cold glint, Hai Kuangren's eyes shot out 2 beams of white light, killing the 2 red-clothed guards in front of him on the spot. With 2 pathetic cries, they bled from their 7 orifices and died. 2 red-clothed guards had died just like that. With no more obstacles in front of him, Hai Kuangren turned into a ray of light, piercing through the horizon. His speed was so fast that Su Yu did not even have the time to use his space control to teleport him back. Not only did he not kill the enemy, but he had also lost 2 red-clothed guards. Su Yu flew toward the 2 corpses, his expression calm, but his fists were slightly clenched. The red-robed guards, who had scattered like birds and beasts, gathered around the 2 corpses. Their eyes were filled with sorrow. They had been together for a long time. Their previously lively faces had turned into cold corpses in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! Li Tianqiang flew back, looking at the two corpses, but did not approach them. He knew that he had completely infuriated Su Yu. With a flash in his eyes, Li Tianqiang slowly retreated, his gaze fierce. "In you, as the palace master, despite knowing the danger, you still brought the members of the empire into danger, causing the innocent deaths of 2 guards. I have to report this matter to the palace master and let him decide." Saying this, Li Tianqiang retreated quickly, his gaze filled with fear as he looked at Su Yu. The power of Buddhist saints' 8 characters had caused him to tremble. Su Yu raised his head, his calm gaze filled with a deep chill. His cold, killing intent was not concealed. Who was it that disobeyed orders and escaped? Who was it that caused the troops to scatter and be attacked by the other party? Who was it that caused the 2 red-clothed guards to die in vain? When I ordered you not to retreat, what were you doing? What did you do? Because of your cowardice, because of your cowardice, because of your cowardice, because of your fear of death, you caused the tragic deaths of the 2 red-clothed guards. If that was the case, then so be it. You do not repent, and you even tried to shirk your responsibility. You do not feel ashamed. I cannot let you live. Su Yu let out a cold grunt. Li Tianqiang had already retreated a mile away, thinking that he was safe and had no more worries. In you. You merely relied on a mysterious technique to gain the favor of the palace master. Do you think you are fit to be the palace master? Li Tianqiang did not hide his thoughts. You are just a kid. Do you think you have the right to order me around? I, Li Tianqiang, have always been at palace masterling's beck and call, working hard. The position of the 10th deputy palace master should have been given to my nephew. Who do you think you are, snatching my nephew's position? Because of your carelessness, you caused the deaths of 2 red-clothed guards. I will definitely report this matter to the palace master and let him see that you are not fit to be the deputy palace master. Hearing this, Su Yu's killing intent deepened. Do you think you still have a chance to return alive? Causing the deaths of your own people, and you shamelessly push the blame onto others. Your death is not to be regretted. Su Yu was rarely this angry. Li Tianqiang was one of the few. In the name of the deputy palace master, I will seek justice for the 2 dead people. Su Yu shouted. Li Tianqiang laughed heartily. In you. Who do you think you are, to punish me? His impudent voice reverberated under the blue sky. Whether I am worthy or not, we will know once we exchange blows. Li Tianqiang laughed coldly. Why should I exchange blows with you? Who do you think you are? You are the culprit who caused the deaths of my own people. I will return now and report this to the palace master. Su Yu's expression was cold. Are you unable to fight, or do you not dare to fight? Li Tianqiang's expression turned rigid, forcing himself to remain calm as he laughed coldly. What a joke! A mere kid like you is fit to challenge me? I don't have time. Just wait for the palace master's punishment. Saying this, Li Tianqiang's figure flashed, charging toward the horizon. Chapter 273. Space Control. The red glow enveloped Li Tianqiang. Creak, he, who had escaped a mile away, was suddenly swept back. Li Tianqiang turned his head in fear, meeting Su Yu's cold gaze. A destructive force was rapidly brewing in Su Yu's mouth. Wait, Palace Master! Li Tianqiang gasped, his eyes trembling, his heart thumping wildly. I know my mistake, I offended you, please have mercy. But Su Yu had no intention of stopping, Buddhist saints 8 characters brewing to the extreme. You are not apologizing to me, but to your 2 comrades who died in vain. Without hesitation, Buddhist saints 8 characters was unleashed. No. His pathetic cries were drowned out by the deafening roars. At close range, Li Tianqiang bled from all his orifices and died. The 7 red-clothed guards in the distance were filled with respect. Yin Yu had killed Palace Master Ling's bodyguards without a second thought. His actions were decisive and ruthless. "Wait here," Su Yu instructed, entering the ruins through the flickering underground tunnel. Su Yu looked at the familiar scenery, Xia Jingyu's figure involuntarily appearing in his mind. A year ago, he had saved Xia Jingyu from the hands of Fang Qingzhou in this very place. Now everything was the same, but the people had changed. But if he joined the Empire of Darkness, it would be much easier for Su Yu to find Xia Jingyu. Su Yu looked at the changing colors on the wall. There were a total of 2. One was of an elder, the heavenly finger. Su Yu had comprehended the divine decree from it. The other. Su Yu squinted, silently using time acceleration. With time acceleration 200 times, the speed of the image on the wall was extremely slow. The second image was clearly reflected in his eyes. Up in the sky, within the vortex, a palm slammed down, shattering mountains, rivers, and earth. Puff! Suddenly, Su Yu spat out a mouthful of blood, his face turning pale. A shred of shock appeared in Su Yu's eyes. What is the origin of that palm? How could a remnant image, separated by tens of thousands of years, still have such power? Back then, Su Yu had only been a martial artist, and it was not surprising that he had been heavily injured. But now, even though he had cultivated to the dragon realm, he was still heavily injured. What was different was that this injury was still bearable. Clenching his teeth, Su Yu once again revolved his space acceleration and fixed his gaze on the scene. Every detail of the scene was slowly and clearly imprinted in Su Yu's mind. Whoosh! A strange scene appeared. When Su Yu had completely imprinted the image on the wall, a leaf-sized ball of light shot out from the image on the wall. Looking closely, it was a small and exquisite palm print. It was extremely similar to the outline of the giant palm in the painting. The ball of light was as fast as lightning. It pierced through the restraints of time and entered Su Yu's mind. All of a sudden, Su Yu noticed that there was a small and delicate palm imprint in his soul, right next to the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Bang! It was also at this moment that the wall shattered. Even the image of the old man's heavenly finger was reduced to dust. Su Yu was bewildered. This was, after a careful inspection, Su Yu heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that the imprint of the palm was not harmful to his soul. The wall had been destroyed. Su Yu pondered for a moment, then left the historical remains. He also led the red-clothed guards away from the Twilight Mountains. A few hours after they left, a figure wearing a bamboo hat flew stealthily from afar and entered the ruins. When he saw the shattered wall, his expression changed. The key has been taken? Who was it? Who was it that took the key? Was it that kid just now? No. How powerful is he? Even the combined forces of the 9 Saint Masters might not be able to retrieve the key. How did he do it? Hai Kuangren left in a flash. Outside the Twilight Mountains, in the Xianyu Prefecture, the once ruined Duke of Xianyu's palace was revitalized. The Duke of Xianyu was peacefully lying on a bamboo chair in the courtyard. He looked into the distant sky. Gradually, his eyes were filled with loneliness and melancholy. "Father-in-law." A soft voice entered his ears. The voice was unfamiliar. The Duke of Xianyu turned around in surprise. He froze on the spot, as if he had been electrocuted. His pupils shrank, his body trembling involuntarily. His lips quivered as he uttered a name. "You're standing up." The Duke of Xianyu's body trembled. He could no longer tear his eyes away from the youth in front of him. He had grown taller, his hair had changed. He looked less childish and more mature. Even his voice had changed. But he recognized him immediately. He was his son-in-law, Su Yu. "Father-in-law." Su Yu gazed at the Duke of Xianyu. It had only been a year since they had last met. His once upright figure had become slightly stooped. His handsome face had become haggard. His once jet-black hair was now mixed with a few strands of white. The high-spirited Duke of Xianyu now looked like an old man in the breeze. He had grown old. Su Yu's heart ached. He knelt down, tears welling up in his eyes. "Father-in-law." I came late. I have let you suffer. 2 lines of tears flowed down the Duke of Xianyu's cheeks. That old, haggard, that familiar face. He smiled. You're finally back. A tearful smile bloomed on his lonely face. It was sad and sorrowful. He helped Suyu up, and the two of them talked for a long time in the courtyard. Suyu had experienced everything. The Duke of Xianyu was sometimes shocked, and sometimes amazed. Finally, his emotions turned into love. He caressed Suyu's head. Thank you for your hard work. Silently shaking his head, Suyu smiled as he took out a jade bottle. 2 yellow elixirs lay quietly within. Whoosh, a red-clothed guard flew over, carrying a crystal coffin in. Anuro was sleeping peacefully. Father-in-law, I have brought the elixirs for you. Today I will fulfill my promise. In the past, Suyu had sworn that he would find the elixirs to restore the Duke of Xianyu's arm. Now, his wish could finally be fulfilled. To prevent the elixirs from losing their effectiveness, Suyu intentionally treated both Anuro and the Duke of Xianyu together. He took out 2 elixirs and swallowed one each. Under the effects of the elixirs, a shocking scene appeared. The Duke of Xianyu's broken right arm began to grow new flesh. His arm was regenerating at a speed visible to the naked eye. As for Anuro, the skin on her face, which she had never seen before, slowly began to peel off. Her rosy, pink skin rapidly grew back. But the process was relatively slow, requiring 10 days to half a month for it to be complete. The Duke of Xianyu was ecstatic, extremely grateful. To have you as my son-in-law is the proudest thing I have ever done. Suyu smiled, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. This arm was what he owed the Duke of Xianyu, and now he had finally returned it. Father-in-law, I cannot stay for long, I have other matters to attend to. This is my benefactor, please take care of him. Suyu took a deep breath and bid farewell. The Duke of Xianyu was stunned, but he forced a smile. Your ambitions do not lie on Shenyue Island. The Zhenlong continent is your world. Go, remember to bring me back next time. His heart trembling, Suyu kowtowed. Father-in-law, take care. The Duke of Xianyu caressed Suyu's head. You should take care. Remember to come back alive. Suyu was moved, and he nodded silently.